Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
I'm Tim.
Andy.
And I'm Rich.
Yes.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And we are live from our basements because we cover games from the ground up. Welcome, everybody. It's Whiskey Wednesday. We've got a couple guests with us, and it's Andy and Rich from Get Gaymin. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Thank
we
you.
feel very welcomed to be the board gamers with a Y, with the board gamers without a Y. Technically, men have a Y chromosome, though, so I guess that's not good.
Well, you got a Y in there. Yeah, if you didn't have a Y in there.
The gamers are just the gamers without a Y.
Okay, well, you get it.
Well, we are really excited to have you on. We talked to you like after we had John Wood on a little bit. We're like, you guys got to come on the show. You got a show. Like, you talk about games. Like, come on.
I gotta take my professional chat trolling onto the front side of the stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now all of your awesome comments right here, just throwing fireballs.
We definitely have opinions.
Andy is drinking whiskey right now, so
Scotch.
you can. Well, Scotch is whiskey.
Ooh,
Yes,
what
Scotch.
kind of Scotch/whiskey? Yes.
The kind from Scotland, but also
Allegedly.
Who is that?
it's kind of blue.
Kind of blue. Like the
Kind of
Miles
blue.
Davis album for any of my jazz fans.
It
out
is
there.
actually from Scotland, though.
It's
I
owned by
saw
some
that.
guy named Miles Davis owns this. No, imported. It's imported, so it probably is actually from Scotland originally. Somehow,
It comes from our discount grocery store, which is grocery outlet, but we call it gross out
you call it gross out. I don't know
because you know it's got this alcohol you've never heard of or seen before. Although you know it goes by
I call
vodka.
it wine roulette is especially bad. They're hard liquor. Usually they have the same suspects most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But happy Whiskey Wednesdays,
Yes.
or whatever you're calling it.
Yeah, Whiskey Wednesday.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it. I am not bitter because I'm not going to Origins, but Mike is. But I am drinking out of my Origins glass from 2022.
So now
Tim
I
had
put
to
my
rub that
glasses
in.
on.
I know. I can't see with it.
We're like both.
I don't
old
even
men.
have an Origins glass.
Or
Oh, that's cute. Yeah,
but-
we're not going to Origins either, but we did look at the preview list, and we are getting hyped.
Awesome.
The hype is real.
So
Actually, we actually already have a couple of games off the preview list, I realized.
Ooh.
Nice.
So when we
Yeah.
get to those, we should definitely
Even
pull
better.
those off the shelf.
Even better.
Jackson right here.
So after you guys jumped in our green room, I guess we'll call it, and I learned that you guys were from out west. It was very easy to make my decision, and I went with High West American
Jeez.
Prairie Bourbon, which is distilled in Utah. I think I have a 99% Louisville bourbon collection, other than this one.
Is
So,
that a small batch? Bourbon?
Listen,
Oh, it sounds like.
Mormon
is,
bourbon
yeah.
does not count. Bourbon has to be made in Kentucky. That's the rule. I've got some
Technically correct.
Buffalo Trace tonight. I'm not drinking garbage for a change.
Yeah, if it's made in another state, technically it's whiskey and not. Well,
No, only Kentucky can call it bourbon. I think
Only
is the way.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
is
Rich is right.
true. So that
that's
is
why
usually
Maker's
what we're
Mark isn't called bourbon
drinking.
because it's from Tennessee.
But doesn't it seem like the bourbon is usually a little sweeter than like
It is
regular
generally, yeah,
whiskey?
because you have to have
Some of
corn,
them-
a certain percentage of corn in bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Is the difference between that and whiskey.
Some of them are sweeter, and some of them kind of have that like heat on the back
Mhm.
end, which is very intentional.
Smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
Um,
I like a good bourbon. He's more of a Scotch person. I'm more of a bourbon guy.
I have a reason though for drinking Scotch.
What's that?
My reason is I never get hangovers from it.
It's true.
I can drink it and it's
That's a
It's
great
good.
reason.
Man, that's like the
If I
best
could be
reason.
guaranteed to never get a
I never
hangover,
get-
that
I
would
mean,
be my go-to. I
try
would switch
Scotch.
immediately.
We're both
Yeah.
more than 10% Irish, though. So
No, but I drink Irish whiskey too. But you can still. I think it is sweetness because like I noticed the Irish whiskey's sweeter than
It is.
like Scotch. So
Yeah, Scotch tends to be more dry.
still put hair.
yeah,
on.
I'm probably
Hair
only
on
going to
your
do a
chest.
couple of glasses of Scotch before I switch back to my beer. So that's me. But anyway,
Well, you're prepared. You got scotch and beer right there with you.
That's
So
right.
this should go
My summer
very
vacation
well.
already started, like after June 1st. So my school term ended a little earlier than
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Well, before we jump into the lists, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what you do out there on the West Coast?
sure. Well, so our channel is called Get Gaymin, and the tagline is, content by board gamers with a Y for gamers with or without a Y. So we do, the typical board gaming content. We live stream a lot, mostly these days. So
He found out he was getting tired of doing all the editing.
We do still release videos every now and again, but we
Fair.
mostly switch over to mostly streaming because we stream like 2, sometimes 3 times a week. So we usually stream on like Wednesdays and Sundays. I have a solo series called Solitary Sunday, and then we just finished doing a Japanese designer focus series, and this month we're doing a Pride designer focus series. So we're doing all games by gay and trans designers. We're chugging along. We're a tiny little channel, but we have our devoted little following. So
That's all right. That's all right. Size doesn't matter. It's the passion. It's the passion.
Motion of the ocean.
Yeah. So real quick though, so what are some of your favorite games? Like you don't have to like run down like definitive list, but like.
Well, I could start that one off.
Okay, what's your favorite game?
We just replayed one of our favorites last night.
Garages of the Ganges. That's a good one. We like our medium weight Euros and worker placement games. We like a lot of like lighter to medium weight games, I would say.
Yeah, that's what we've been focusing on a lot lately.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the Japanese designers.
Because it is Pride Month, to Stonewall Uprising, wherever it went. It's behind me somewhere. But that's that's a gay civil rights themed game. That's a 2-player only game. That's tug of war asymmetric deck building. So
is somebody the cops and then the other people?
Yeah, they call it
the
man. You're called the man.
Because it's the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So a lot of it is about one person plays as like the gay civil rights movement. They're called Pride. And then they're like the activists. And then the other person plays the man who's like supposed to represent, the forces of like, societal hate and bigotry. It's kind of a heavy game. It's like a little bit more, I would say, a war style type of game, kind of leans that direction.
It's real tug of rope. You cut because you have these tracks, and it can go back and forth between Pride and the man. And what's funny is because you think everybody like who's going to want to play the man, but what we found out is it's. Even though I think we've won at Pride every time we played it, but it starts out like it doesn't look good.
The man is pretty aggro, but with Pride, if you're really good at deck building, and Pride builds their deck very well, it's really good. So, yeah, I would definitely like a lot of deck building games. We have the occasional Euro in there. Obviously, love Japanese games. We spent a whole month and a half just on Japanese games recently. He really likes Phil Walker Harding. Is probably one of his favorites.
Yeah.
Overall,
I would say Elizabeth Hargrave's one of my favorites too, as well. Undergrove is coming soon.
Yeah.
I got the notice.
Is that by
Elizabeth Hargrave? Yeah, the mushroom one. So I like any kind of eco theme, cute animals. We're there.
We're suckers for cute animals.
So either cute animals or like a dry, like sort of like middle age history themed Euro.
Well, that's Andy for sure. If it's like dry, he likes it.
We're pretty much omni gamers, I would say, overall.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's great. That's great. I am definitely an omnivore when it comes to games. I like all shapes and sizes. I like the heavy ones. I like the light ones, that you can get to the table nice and easy. I can, play with family and kids. And then Mike and I have got to sit down and learn Inventions soon. Because you don't know how to play that yet, right, Mike?
No.
That one looks heavy.
Yeah.
Is that the new Vital Lacerda?
It's a newer one.
It is.
Yeah.
So basically, I'll watch a rules video and I still won't know how to play it.
I'll read the book, watch a rules video, and still teach it wrong.
And still not know how to play it.
They're definitely not one to rate. But I almost considered signing us up for that demo at RageCon, but I was like, this is going to be too heavy even for me.
It was hard for me getting into like the heavier games at first because I felt like you practically need like a PhD in the game like before you can even play it.
Luckily for him, I'm a lifelong student.
Yeah,
I did finally teach you First Rodent.
That's a great game.
That's my #1 game of all time.
Ooh, you know, that's one I need to pick up. I played that once years ago, loved it, and just didn't buy it, and therefore haven't played it since. But that game's fantastic.
Yeah, I play it a lot solo, which I quite enjoy it solo. But I've been in a BGA async game of that with certain people for like, I think it's been going on 8 months now. And I'm like, these people need to take their turns. But I'm nice. I won't kick people out of async games on BGA. It's fine.
Bob, I'm actually amazed that you still had the brain power to type the comment after reading that rule book.
Yeah, no doubt.
His brain isn't just pudding at the moment.
I still have a game that Bob and I tried to learn. We haven't figured out. I'm not getting rid of it until we crack it because I love the art style. Have you guys heard of Feudum?
Yeah, I saw they had a Kickstarter for that.
Yes.
Yeah, reprint.
It's like it's got like that weird like sort of psychedelic art. It's like this middle-aged thing. You've seen it at Great Escape. They have it. It's like that big box thing.
It's got really quirky art, but it's I love the art style. And I've actually way before I was a content creator, I got to meet the designer and kind of like talk to him, and he was so nice. And I was like, well, and I had him actually sign my game. But I didn't have the heart to tell him I couldn't figure out how to play it yet.
It's one of those.
That's good.
I don't know that much about it really, other than I've never like watched a whole playthrough video of it. I've seen a couple of reviews of it.
My understanding is that it can take up to like an hour and a half, 2 hours to teach.
Correct.
Just to teach it, but it's not that hard to understand when somebody explains it to you. And then like once you get it, you can go back to playing it months later with very little like refresh on the rules.
It's just a lot of front loading.
I don't know. I usually need lots of refreshing.
Guilty.
Well, yeah, like if you're going to do any heavy game, I feel like you need to play it several times back to back, or you just don't internalize a rule set.
Yeah,
true.
You know? That's fair. Yeah, very true. We actually
go ahead.
Oh, we actually just recently, this could switch the topic, not unintentionally. We just spent a weekend almost trying to learn a game with pretty rough rules. So, yeah. Still recovering.
What was it?
It's actually a really good game. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's called the Pirate Republic, the Africa Gambit. So it is a sequel to the Pirate Republic. But it's a sandbox style game where you're playing as pirates, and so you've got like asymmetrical like a deck of player deck that you use, and you use those cards to kind of fuel your actions. So you got a bunch of different actions you can do on your turn, and there's like a tiny bit of deck building. It says it has deck building. You do add cards to your deck, but it's not enough for me to call a deck building game. Like for me, a deck building game is like I'm buying cards every round, and adding them to my hand.
It's more like just cycling kind of hand management, I would say.
But yeah, lots of really interesting choices. The combat's really neat because you've got like sort of like this flow chart, of like if you've got initiative, then you can use your broadsides and blow them out of the water. Or sometimes if you have there's a trait called Strike Fear. So if you have a high enough value in Strike Fear, you don't even have to shoot your cannons. You just win because you raise your flag, they wet their pants, and throw their treasure over to you. So it's pretty cool.
It happened to me once. I had to change my pants in the middle of the game. It was so awkward.
Yeah, that does sound like kind of like a war game to me, but we don't do a lot of combat games generally.
It's not a versus game though. You're only fighting NPC like ships that are sailing around. So there's like merchant ships and other pirate ships, and then if you sink too many merchant ships, then they start sending Navy ships out onto the board to attack you, because they're mad at you. But yeah, it's a really neat game. It's like I said, it's a sandbox game, so you can kind of go around and do what you want. You know, there's sort of a global mission.
Explore and pillage booty.
Yes. So
just there might be that booty might be booby trapped. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
But I liked it a lot. We did struggle with some of the rules. We thought it was. I mean, it's a pretty hard game to win, you know, or to even do well at, like early on.
Random it's a little popping up everywhere. Sounds like.
But no, I mean, we really appreciated it for what it was, and I think if I were to play it, I would house rule a few things just to like make it a little easier.
Are they still in development, or is that like?
Yeah, a little bit. So it's on Kickstarter now. It's funny because the designer actually commented on the video and said like, "Hey, we appreciate all, you know, everything that you said." And, you know, and I think like any designer, right? You listen to all of the criticism and everything that anybody says. And if only one person says it, well, then maybe you don't need to listen to that one. But if a bunch of people are having the same issue, then maybe you figure out, you know, maybe you don't go with what they suggest, but maybe you do find a way you feel like that you can still be true to your vision. And, I
always heard that as the following: if one person calls you an ass, you can ignore it. If two people call you an ass, you need to go get a saddle.
Okay, we're not calling designers asses. We literally have. I just got sent this prototype. This came in the mail today for a game where. Probably covering this month. I don't know.
Oh, what's that?
That's Puppets in High Places.
Oh, yeah. I love the title of this game.
My thing is like, you know, this is not our first rodeo, like essentially playtesting the game and then covering it. So I like that she did give us a rule book. She even stapled it. Yay, how professional. Nice. This one looks pretty put together, but, you know, I've definitely had some struggles trying to figure out the rules of games from the designer's proto rulebook, you know.
For sure.
More than others on that
yeah, all rule books were not created equal.
1,000,000%. I mean, you know, and what we try to do is at least reach out back to them and say, hey, you know, we're struggling, or is, you know, what's the, you know, and some people are more accessible than others, but for the most part, most of the, I mean, anymore now we're lucky because we've gotten to know some of the people that we're doing stuff with. So I can just message them and go, hey, when you have time, I got a bunch of questions, you know, because we want to represent their games the best way we can, you know, at least in their truest form, right? As it, you know, even if we don't love it, at least we could at least present it properly. And, you know, and then obviously they want their games represented well, you know, and they want people to understand it, because there's nothing worse than when you put out a video and then they're like, well, they didn't even play it right. And they didn't, you know, and it's like, did we not ask them about these rules, you know, or
it's embarrassing. On both sides, I think. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. So I'll be asking questions of her, and then because the only reason we're covering another one of Taylor's game, the designer from Stonewall Uprising, who's also a friend of John's, and the whole reason he sent it to us because I was like, hey, after we did the Stonewall Uprising video for him, because ours was the first 2-player playthrough of that game, because all the content on that game was just the solo mode, which is really a 2-player.
It's a good game.
It's really a 2-player game. It's very bizarre to me, but you know, I think. A lot. I've just noticed because it was a war game publisher. There's, I think, a lot more war game content creators who focus on the more solo side of things. At least that's my impression. So I think that's part of that.
Now, when you play solo, I assume you're playing as the Pride side.
Or you can only play as Pride in the solo one, and there's a deck AI.
It's even harder, isn't it?
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah. Do you think there's jerks out there that are like mad that there's not a version where they can just play as the man and suppress people?
Let me just say one thing.
I'm so evil. It's so bad. He actually went through the AIDS crisis, which is an aspect in the game. Like in the third part of the game, there's a track for AIDS deaths in that game. So it's pretty heavy. And then we had one session where I was getting a little too into character, shall we say?
Well, let's just say when you're playing as Pride, you're sweating it the whole time because it's really kind of a hard. It's actually very difficult at the beginning. But and then when I switched and I was playing as the man, I was enjoying it because you just didn't have to worry as much, or it's like whatever. So it's a little easier playing as the man.
Yeah, I think when you first play it, but I think once you get the strategy of it, and if both players are equally familiar with it, it's I think it's balanced in that sense. I think the man's cards, because you each have separate markets. Like the man has its own market and Pride has their own market. Of decks that they're building. And the thing with Pride is the really juicy cards for them come out in the 60s, which is the first of the 3 rounds. And the really juicy cards for the man come out in the 80s, which is the last round. But some of those cards that come out in the 80s for the man are literally like instant win conditions when they play them, if a certain condition is met. So if you as Pride haven't built your deck smartly from those 60s and 70s cards, you're just SOL down the creek when it gets there.
Yeah.
But I know there's a big there's definitely a huge tug of war element. So even if I don't think Pride is less well equipped, but like you do feel like the man is constantly attacking you in that game. Like it's a constant attack. And so you're just really trying to you feel like you're trying to keep your head above water as Pride sometimes, I would say.
Nice.
Which makes it very thematic.
Yeah, it's funny. I forget what podcast that I had heard about that game on, and I was like, that sounds awesome. Like, I love games that really like drill into like a part of history. You know what I mean? And like, and just take an unflinching sort of look at it, right? You know what I mean? Because there's difficult. You can love America. You know what I mean? And you can love your state. You can love your town, but obviously you can also love it with warts and all, and sort of appreciate sort of a representation of the difficult times and the struggles.
Yeah, I think that's a really great historical game because it's like there's even stuff in there. Like Rich is like, oh yeah, I went to this guy's house, and there's even stuff that a lot of other people, gay people that I know, don't even know some of that history.
Sure.
My mentor was like really super big into like the gay movement from like he is 18 years older than I am, and I'm 64 now. But he was quite a bit older, and he was actually the administrative assistant for the head of the ACLU at the time.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so I had a lot of exposure to like just the gay pride movement, and
yeah, right on.
Yeah, I love historical games. We need to play more of them, but Rich isn't. He's not going to go down that wargaming path at all.
Well. If he can succeed in making me like Spirit Island, then maybe we'll go.
Are you going to give it another chance? That's my number 2 game, by the way.
I've given it 3 chances, but I will give it another chance because he's won at it since like the times we played at it. We never won.
Well, I'm better at it now because I played it a lot solo, and I've been playing it more with Tim, who's our number 1 fan on the channel. I've been doing async with him. So and he's even more experienced at that game than I am, which I just, I love that game.
Do you think he taught you how to win at that game?
I think he taught me how to divide and conquer a little bit better and not, overthink it. I think that's a game where a lot of people, when they first learn it, they overthink the strategy a bit. And I think it's really, you have to focus on, okay, what does my spirit do really well? And what does your spirit do really well? Because they're so asymmetric.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, he basically said, this is my island board and this is your island board. I'll take care of the stuff here. You take care of the stuff there.
It's a divide and conquer.
And we did pretty well. And also the spirits you combine, especially in a 2-player game, really matter. You need spirits that are going to complement each other.
See, and what I didn't like about that game is those little white pieces. Because they're just like, that board just drives me nuts. It's like littered with pieces all over.
The white men keep coming. And they don't
keep
stop.
Coming. It's
like a plague of white locusts.
And I hate the little huts that the Dahan live in.
I like the cute little huts.
Well, they fall over.
They don't.
Yeah,
you can put them on your side. It's fine. They don't even roll that much.
They roll around.
Yeah, they're constantly shaking the table.
Well, we were bringing people together, and now we're dividing them.
Exactly. You're pushing them, you're pulling them, what have you. But
anyway,
I'm going to hold you to that. I've got you Spirit Island. I love Spirit Island. Yeah. So that pretty much is a war game.
It is a war game.
Yeah.
And if I can like that one, then I'll like war games.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Fair.
Well, all right. I guess we should probably talk about Origins.
Maybe.
I like your podcast. It's
Was a live stream.
Well, it's a live stream, but
Yeah, no, we're
unless
chill.
you could
I
release the audio
misspeak
and it would be
because
a
I'm
podcast.
old, but
Yes.
I misspeak. Yes, I do. But it's very like our live streams. It's the same thing. We're like talking for
We'll
half
have
an hour
10-minute
before
digressions about history and politics.
Yeah, we
like,
totally just. You're gonna get it all.
I like to get to know people. I like hanging out with people. I like, like we've emailed a little bit back and forth, but like haven't really gotten to talk. So it's like, I just like to get to know people. Like, you never know. I might run into y'all sometime and then I, give you a big hug and we can, bullshit about whatever and we're good to go, So.
Then you can make fun of him for being a clumsy walker and saying, why don't you walk to the other side of the sidewalk? Stop running into me. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Rich. Wow, they already got your number.
He's a clumsy walker. Mike was giving me a hard time because I said run into you.
He's definitely always running into.
I'm 6 feet tall and I have little tiny feet, so that's
fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yeah.
I have hobbit feet.
I mean,
I have a literal hobbit
true.
Feet. I can't even find shoes that fit me.
I don't think it was the fetal alcohol. My mom smoked cigarettes when she was pregnant.
You can get other.
I'm 6'3" and I have baby hands, so I don't know what's worse.
Oh, sort of like those Kristen Wiig hands.
Yeah, exactly like those. When she's on the Lord's Welk
strong hand.
Oh my God, I love that whole bit.
I need a lover with some baby hands. I need a man with a silky touch.
All right, Mike.
So,
Mike, have you been? Is there anything you want to hit before we go to Origins talk?
Yeah, let's do it.
That doobie, yeah.
All right. So, So, on a serious note, like real quick before we get into, so Tim spent 2 consecutive weekends learning the Pirate Gambit game. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it had a lot of minutia and a lot of rules, and at times it wasn't smooth. And the player aid was kind of rough and didn't aid much. And it was punishing. And it took a long time. And we were fighting, like, do we still put out a video for this? Because this is a Kickstarter preview. And we kind of gave it some harsh criticism in that Kickstarter preview. And it's like, there's this fine line that you walk when you're a content creator doing previews. Like, you don't want to rip a person to shreds for spending years of their life working on a game and for you to just crash it like that. And that's just nothing that we ever do. But we had some pretty harsh criticisms in our Kickstarter preview of that game because we also owe it to our subscribers to be honest about games. And if it was hard for us to learn and it took forever for us to progress the game, then somebody else out there is going to have that exact same experience. Yeah. So we owe it to people to be honest, which is why it really bothers me when people use dishonesty to get clicks on their videos.
Mm-hmm. If you can't tell, Mike's sitting on a soapbox right now. He's on his soapbox. Go for it, Mike.
Go for it.
If you're gonna put Mythic Games logo on a thumbnail to one of your videos, and then you're going to accuse another publisher of doing the same thing that Mythic has done, you better have some substantial proof. You need to be speaking from a position of credibility to link any publisher to what Mythic Games has done. But yet there's one content creator that just does this over and over and over, and I can't stand it.
I think I have an idea who you're talking about too.
It's King of Average. I don't sub his channel. I try not to watch his content.
I can't help it either. He
tries to drive up clicks by using the Mythic Games logo, and I just don't like it.
Board game content creation. do you know this thing about commentary videos on the other side of YouTube? People that cover like, you know, influencer drama and stuff. He's the board game hobbies answer to commentary channels. That's the level on which he's operating, right? Which Mad Love too, if that's what you want to do or whatever, and saying you're trying to protect consumers and stuff, like I get it. But it's like he's really I was watching that video and I was talking to a couple people in the Discord and stuff. It's like, yeah, that sounds kind of shady, but I mean, you know, there's plenty of people that have issues fulfilling their Kickstarters on time. That's kind of my perspective on that.
It's true.
And
it's true.
There's all kinds of issues that can come up. And, you know, like, you know, I do think he has a tendency to like to pump up the drama on a lot of things, though. I agree with you on that.
A bit of embellishing. And again, I still think the big one is if you're going to use the Mythic Games logo as a thumbnail, not really talk about Mythic Games and then talk about another publisher that you think may not deliver, but you really don't actually know. That's a stretch to me. And I just like, I'm not a fan.
We struggled with this. We were just talking about Stonewall Uprising, right? And I'm just going to be straight up. And we were straight up in the review. I tried to be nice about it, but that rule book is such a barrier to entry.
Oh, sure.
Kind of rough, very rough. I think it's the hardest time I've ever had learning a game, like a published game that wasn't a prototype. Like
what game was it? I missed that part.
Stonewall Uprising.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I literally kind of authored the unofficial rules errata for that game. Like I compiled every single question from the BGG forums on that, and there were a lot about like basic stuff, like how the discarding of the cards works, like things like that just kind of were like the information is mostly there in the rule book, but there's just a lot of holes that aren't filled in that are kind of glossed over and stuff. And like there's nowhere in the rules explains what these law tokens do, and I'm like, what are these law tokens for? What do they do? And you have to read like the card text to find out, oh, there's these specific cards that refer to law tokens, but you didn't explain how they work in the rules, like at all, and like stuff like that. And I had a very long conversation with the designer about it after the fact, about like, hey, look, I'm not trying to come for you. I hope that we weren't too harsh or whatever, but like legit, I had to be honest about it because I do think that, you know, it saddens me that this game that I think is so great and fun and important, especially to, you know, our community, has that barrier to entry in that rule book. Like it could have been much better edited, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So, you know, and again, some of that is like, especially when you're a first time designer, it's his first published game too, you know? And like, I don't know how much control you had versus the publisher. Like, you know, it was a very fast turnaround on that Kickstarter. It was like 4 months between the Kickstarter and it getting
wow.
So I was sort of like, well, I don't know if that had something to do with it or whatever. And I know for the reprint, that company has hired a new rules editor.
Nice.
Oh,
well, but I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Is like, you're not coming at it from a hateful place. You're coming from a place of passion, right? You care about it, you know, and that's sort of like Mike's talking about that Pirate Republic game. And it's like, we all were very excited about it. We really love the bones of that game a lot. And so we wanted to do well, but I would hate to talk up a game and then somebody get it and then be like, Tim, I bought this game because you said it was great, but you didn't tell me that, you know, it was a beast, you know, to learn, or, you know, this and that. And again, like you guys are friends with designers, you know, and stuff. And it's like, you gotta be real with them. You know, you gotta say, hey, like, I love this game, but you got to do something about, you know, X, Y, or Z. I mean, sometimes they're your friends. You got to do that for your friends.
And it's my number one pet peeve in board gaming is I shouldn't have to go to the BGG forums to learn your game. And I refused for Stonewall Uprising to look at it at all before I had felt I had played for the game once successfully. And even at the end of the game, I was like, did I do it right? I think I did it right, but I'm not sure. And so then I went to the forums and saw people had all the same questions I had about it.
We've played games, though, that we've played wrong for like months.
This is also true.
It's like, oh, you mean you don't play it that way?
This is also true. I'm not saying I was saying, okay, I always get at least one rule wrong when we do the teachers on the live streams. I'm so bad about that. But
it's true. We're
we
not
role
models.
We spent months on that video because I was like, I want to get this right. Like, if we're gonna put out this video on this game, I want to get it right. I think that because there were so many people, especially that had so many rules questions, I wanted to make sure that our playthrough was ironclad, that people could learn the game from the playthrough, that we were getting it right. And I consulted with several people, and that's actually how we got a lot of the diehard fans like Tim got involved with our channel because of Stonewall Uprising.
This is another Tim.
Wow.
Number one fan.
Our number one fan.
But the fact is that you gave the game its due diligence. You didn't just give up and say, no, I can't figure this out. You played it multiple times to try to get it right because you felt like you owed it that chance.
But also we weren't on a time crunch.
Yeah, that's fair too.
So
we actually had, I think, maybe a 2-week turnaround, but because we usually film every Sunday, we played. Some of the guys played it last Sunday, and like still had so many questions that we played it again this Sunday, and then flipped that video on Monday for the campaign this Tuesday. So that was kind of a short turnaround for what was a beast to learn. But it's like if you don't give a game the old college try, I guess you would call it, people can tell, like, especially designers, they can tell if you didn't play the whole game. They know,
Yeah, if you're kind of half-assing it just for the preview, because you're not doing a full playthrough for the preview, right?
We play all the way through the game, and then we do a preview, which is basically like a review. We just don't score it because the game's not finished.
Right.
Okay.
So, yeah, we still play through it so we can at least give it complete thoughts, like start to finish.
It's hard. And I think in an industry like this, where you have so many tiny little publishers and a lot of self-published people, these are the kinds of things you're kind of crowdsourcing a little bit, some of that development work, which is fine. But I think and I think most designers that actually are able to be successful are able to put their big boy pants on, their big girl pants on, as the case may be, and be like, okay, I'm taking this feedback right now. This isn't about me. If I actually want, because then when you put it out, more people are just going to complain about the same stuff. Like, the issues aren't going to go away. Like,
Yeah.
So
take the time for that feedback.
Right. And as a designer, that's why you're having other people play the game. So that you need to respect the time that other people are giving you to help you improve that game. And if you're as a designer or a publisher, and often people wear both pants, right? In this industry, you need to put your ego aside completely and take that feedback for what it is, something that can only help your game. I mean, ultimately, yes, you have to decide the things that are my creative boundaries, right? But if it's something like, the rule book not being functional and easy for people to learn,
that's the biggest one.
Blind
Functional.
playtesting. You need to have blind playtesting. I can try it from every mountaintop, and for this exact reason. If people are struggling to learn it, people that do this professionally, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's not like we play tons of games.
Really great points, Andy. I'm with you on every single thing you said right there. You got to be open and objective to that feedback. Otherwise, there's no room for improvement.
Lifelong learning, man. That's what it's about. Right? As long as we're coming at it from the point of, okay, we want to help do what's best for the game.
Right.
That's all that matters, So that other people can enjoy the game. That's what we all want,
That's it.
It's great points.
That's it. I want to play games. I want to have fun, and I want everybody else to have fun too. So.
Oh, the comments are flashing on the screen.
Are they?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Good point.
I can't.
I put myself down here so they half cover me and not our guests. That way, we're not disrespecting anybody. You can half cover my mug.
There you go, Jeff.
Jeff
has got you.
I hate the clickbait stuff, and it just the videos from most recent memory felt like conjecture at best. So
yeah, sometimes he will read the whole emails, and it seems like he does his due diligence, at least reaching out. to the people and the publishers he's covering. Sure. Sometimes it's really kind of like, well, here's some comments I pulled from the Kickstarter page. This is what people are whining about. I'm like, okay, but is their bitching actually like valid? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I remember a Kickstarter for the gig at Roll and Write, that's Jazz name. There was this guy from Australia that tore that guy to test. Like he had a lot of delays, which, you know, had to do with him not having enough capital, you know, and stuff like that. So, but it was delayed. Like the game fulfilled within a year. Like, so I don't know. This guy was really complaining though.
Do you know that game?
Mm-mm.
The gig? I think you should take the time because it's a really cool.
It's a fun roll and write. It's a real time roll and write. Very fun.
I like the look.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like, you know, got the 60s art. It goes really well with this kind of blue thing.
Oh, you would love it. I think you'd love it.
Yeah,
it goes so well.
Like it's like a 20-minute like roll and write. It's very fun. Nice. Really fun at 3 and 4. Works well too though. There is a solo mode too. And I did a solo playthrough of this. And someone was like, yeah, I'm really confused about this particular rule and the solo thing, and it's not really very clear. And I was like, whatever. But then there was this guy on Kickstarter saying, because they fulfilled, there was a delay, right, first for the Kickstarter, because he had to get capital, because he wanted to finish fulfilling his previous Kickstarter before he rolled out this one, right? So he just kind of had too many eggs in one basket and had to kind of like move some money around, basically. But it was only a delay of like maybe 4 to 6 months. Like nothing crazy.
For
like,
Kickstarter, that's nothing.
Yeah, like look at freaking Unconscious Mind over here. Okay, hold my beer. We've been talking about that game since our very first video on our channel. Okay, we're going on 2 years now. So anyway, but yeah, this guy was complaining because he fulfilled the games to America and Britain first, and then he was going to fulfill to Australia after that because the shipping was so much more like of a nightmare. And he was complaining, like, why do I see this getting fulfilled in America and it's not getting fulfilled to Australia? And he was very upset about it and was trying to call him out and stuff. And I was like, look, you need to unbunch your panties a little bit there, bro. Like, I don't want to like use the sexist term, but literally he was getting himself all worked up. Said, this is unacceptable, very disappointing. And I was like, girl, it's a $20 Kickstarter. This is not some like $80 to $100, $200. Come on, minis game. Okay, like just cool your tits.
Nice. It's a print and play. No,
I don't think there's a print and play version of that one, but I know I see a lot of Kickstarters now that have the print and play files too, because they're kind of like, okay, at least here's something if you just want to play the game immediately while we figure out how to fulfill it. So I like Kickstarters that have that option for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. That's good.
I mean, yeah, we could do a whole, and kind of have done a whole episode on just people with unrealistic expectations regarding crowdfunding, you know, and stuff. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, it's the internet. Everybody can be brave without having to like actually face consequences. So, you know, I really learn, and, you know, probably learn the hard way, not just with content creation, but in real life. Like before you start clapping at somebody, you better make sure that you're standing on firm ground, you know, because, you know, make sure you know what you're talking about, you know, and unfortunately that's not always the case. But yeah, I don't start anything unless I know that it's locked in, right?
And like, I'm gonna have to show you some of this guy's videos so you can totally like grasp what they're talking about with this guy.
Okay. Because
I did not expect to come on here and start like dragging the king of average of all people.
Hey,
but
listen, listen, he and I have the same hairstyle, so I like him.
I don't know. He did a whole video where he did an expose on Suzanne Sheldon, and Suzanne Sheldon is like who I want to be when I grow up. So he can go big Crocs.
Sure.
Oh, there you go. Nice. It's all Basil too. I'm not afraid to say it.
I told Tim, I was like, I'm fighting the surge to talk about this tonight. And we really, quite honestly, don't do a whole lot controversial here at all. I don't like to punch upward. I'm not sitting in a glass house trying to throw dirt on other content creators. We're all here for the same purpose. There's more than enough viewers for all of us. So I'm not, no hate to anybody that does content.
And you know what, though, there is an audience.
Get that coin. He's getting that coin.
There's an audience for that.
Right.
For him. Clearly, he does really well. You know, there's an audience for it.
I just think it's hilarious that the board game hobby now has a drama channel. of its very own.
Well, it used to just be the Dice Tower, and you see what game Vassal throws a fit over.
Well, we'll know when they do the Real Housewives.
Don't get me started on that. That recent AI art controversy for DiceCon. Did you hear about that? Okay, anyway.
Not for DiceCon, no.
Yeah, I think it was Dice Tower West. They had like one of their promotional things. They had AI art and stuff. So even Suzanne was coming out and blasting them after fact. So I guess that bridge is officially burned.
I mean, considering they have paid graphic designers, you'd think that wouldn't be necessary. But
yeah, exactly.
Well, they paid the graphic designers.
Where was Roy?
Yeah, exactly. You have to put it into ChatGPT or whatever.
Wow, maybe one of them.
I don't know.
Jeez, maybe one of them can get a gig at Awaken Realms. Sorry. Well, I mean, at least they admit it. So I'm not saying things people don't know.
Awaken Realms owns it.
The thing is, we have yet to actually be like paid for covering any Kickstarters yet, so we totally have no qualms about calling out publishers, other content creators, because it's like, hey, whatever, man, we got 90 subscribers, whatever, come get us.
I mean, I will tell you, we have been paid. We have been paid for some stuff, but like really, we've been fortunate to work with people that we kind of know or have gotten to know, and so I would review a game that has AI art, but I would be very upfront that it has AI art. And I also, when I talk about stuff that I like, would not talk about, I just would abstain from talking about the art because I have my own feelings about AI art, and I love genuine like art that people create because I think it's incredible. And I'm so jealous that they can do it because I cannot. I'm not talented like that. And so I have a real appreciation for art, but obviously there's going to be things that are going to happen where you're going to have to encounter AI art. And so
what about AI rule books? Maybe they need to get on that.
I mean, if they're good, I'm fine with it.
Listen, rule books are a whole different animal. I'll take a good rule book.
I can get it to the table faster.
Like, I don't care if you're using ChatGPT to like generate certain things, but I feel like I think especially in this hobby, art is so pivotal to it. Like a lot of people buy games just on the art alone, and I'm definitely one of those people. Even though I'm a Euro gamer, love my Euros. Aesthetics are important to me.
They are to me too.
And if a publisher says I want to cut corners on art. Art should be at a minimum 30% of the budget for your game project.
Yeah,
at a minimum, because it's so important. The art is
mostly
your marketing. That's your marketing. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You're not budgeting for that, and you want to cut corners using AI. That doesn't make sense to me.
So it's funny. I'll mention this thing once, and then we'll move on to the Origin show. But we had a game. I wasn't on this video. But we had a game that some of the guys reviewed. They loved it, but they did not love the artwork for the game. I commented and said the reason I had never even picked this game up and looked at it beyond the front and back of the box was because I didn't like the artwork. The art was done by the designer's brother. And like our review got shared in their Discord, and we got raked through the friggin' coals. And they were like, these people shouldn't even be commenting on art. Art's so subjective. And I'm like, well, board games are subjective. I love games that Mike doesn't love. Mike loves games that I don't love. I'm sure you guys like games that neither of us like, vice versa, right?
I'm going to repeat what a wise woman said to me. It was about books. But she said, reviews are not for publishers. Reviews are for consumers.
And all mediums of art are subjective.
Yeah.
All of them.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Not everybody's going to look at a piece of art and have the same feelings. It's impossible.
Yeah. And also, it's like, okay, someone's criticizing the art. It's like, it's just not a game for me. This is not the art for me. Whatever. Why are you going to take it personally?
But listen, I play tons of games that I love that I don't love the art, but I think the game is great. It's just sometimes that's a barrier, right?
It can be a barrier. Sure. Yeah, I don't like Bonanza. I don't like the art.
You don't like the art? Sure. I think it's fine. But but if somebody sat down and taught, like, hey, I'm going to teach you this game, and you play it and love it, and you're like, this game's great, I just don't like the art. I mean, that's how I feel about Scout. Like, the theme for Scout, I think, is so stupid. But I love that game. It's super fun. But the carnival theme, I don't.
Yeah, I
like,
think
it's so pasted
on the style of game that it is too.
Sure.
The genre really makes a big difference. Like if it's a trick taker or a card game or a game that's mostly abstract in some way, I don't mind it so much. But if it's a game where the reason I was drawn into it was like the theme, or I'm looking to be immersed
then you need
thematically, and the art isn't jiving, that makes a big difference to me. Now, there's plenty of ugly ass old Euros that I love.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm. And my tastes for art are pretty broad, like, but it's also kind of like not everyone has that broad taste. And I think we're really spoiled, quite honestly, in the last 5 to 10 years. Like there's some really amazing artists.
Oh my gosh. So many.
But we still have Franz. What's his name?
Yeah, Clemens Franz.
Yeah. And some people don't like his art style. I think it's fine.
I don't, but I love a bunch of the games that he's worked on.
Clans of Caledonia, one of my faves.
Oh, okay.
I
he
love
does
that
a lot
game.
of the Uwe games.
Orleans. He did the art for Orleans.
Yeah, and I think it's fine. It's what people complain about the old Dominion art too, right?
Oh, right.
It's kind of like looks like they're slightly belted or whatever. When you look at them too long, you might have nightmares.
But again, the art. You bring a game to the table. You sit down and go, "Hey Tim, I'm really excited about this game. I want to play it with you. I'm going to play it, and then if the art is good and sometimes when reviewing and stuff, if it's not a theme I'm into, but I really like the game, to me, that's even more of a testament as to how good that game is. It's like, man, I really hated this theme, or I thought this theme was so stupid, but then I played this game and I'm like, it doesn't matter. This game is so good. Like, it's not going to drive me away, right? Or there's a game where there's a theme that I love and the game is bad, and it's that much more disappointing because it's like, oh, I thought this was
because good. We are probably going to mention All Play a lot in this Origins list. I just want to put my hot take on freaking River Valley Glassworks, a theme and art that I love, and a game that was very underwhelming to me.
Oh, okay. I haven't played it.
When it's good art and the game is it's not bad. It's just kind of like, I was like, I feel kind of hoodwinked a little bit.
Oh, sure.
So like the opposite is true too.
Sure. Yeah. Agreed. And sometimes, again, like the art can raise up your expectations, and then you play something and you're like,
true.
Again, we love cute critters doing anything pastoral or artisan.
We got some options in this Origins preview list of cute.
Yeah, that's my helping you get a segue, Mike, by the way.
There we go.
All right. We need a segue.
Yeah, we're only 52 minutes in. I guess we can start talking about
it. I did make a list, by the way.
I got a list too.
I made this sucker go over, and he's never gone over a preview list.
Mostly probably just going to scroll through the BGG preview list, and then when you have something to say, just chime in.
I don't know if mine will be on here. I mean, some of them might be, but some of them are like things I need to go see or do while at Origins.
Yeah, and we may not have commentary about every single game on here or even every publisher, but we'll be able to cover our bases here. What's funny is I've had this on a different tab for the last 54 minutes while we've been talking, and I couldn't help but think that this looks like your logo. The balloons in this, I'm seeing a lot of the same colors.
We love everything Portugal. Rich actually knows Portuguese, by the way.
Hey,
and we have many friends that are part Portuguese as well. So I love this Portuguese theme one.
My co-host is part
these
Portuguese.
These two designers are extremely talented designers to watch out for, is what I'm going to say. Because they've done a lot of button shy stuff. So these are the designers of Rove, that their legacy game that Button Shy had. Also, they have these are the designers from one of their skirmish games, Battlecrest. They have several other designs with them that I can't remember off the top of my head, but very clever designers. Like they are really good at making a good mechanical hook in their games that feels fresh. So even though this is seems like it might be a basic tile game, I know it's going to have some kind of hook that's going to make it a little bit different than your run of the mill.
I am looking really hard at any 25th, because this is a 25th century game, right? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, we're on
I'm
25th
looking
century.
really hard at all of their games because I have yet to be disappointed.
Yeah, and there's several of our designer friends who are friends with on Twitter who are part of this 25th century game list. Like Mondo has a game on here, and I think one of the all play ones is Clarence. But yeah, there's some like really good up and coming designers on 25th century games. I think is doing a good job of getting some up and coming designers in their roster of games, for sure.
I really like the look of this one, not just the box cover, but the components and the color on the board. And this one's got like pattern building to where you're trying to create like, different sets on your board. And then you get like special abilities when that fires off.
Right. So there's a little bit
looks
of
really nice.
engine building or unlocking of juicier scoring things in this one, I believe.
Oh, you're talking his love language.
This one looks really good. I'm very interested in this. And this is supposed to be available in their booth.
Yeah, this is definitely, I think, this quarter release for sure.
So they're gonna have like a pretty big presence at Origins then.
25th century games for sure, yeah. I think.
They will be in booth 1615.
What's the other 25th century game you really like?
I
have
know
you guys played Wine Cellar yet?
I'm gonna back that Kickstarter though, because Mondo's other game, he's probably Big Sur. That's his other game.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna be backing that one.
I will strongly recommend Wine Cellar.
Talking about it because I
really
was
good.
Wine Cellar.
Strongly.
And then who was talking about? Someone else was talking about Wine Cellar recently. I think Jeff and Jamie were talking about Wine Cellar too. So I think that one's getting some buzz.
It's just a really, really clever bidding game, but it's more of like a pick your card, everybody reveal bidding game, not the 1, 2, 3 bidding game that takes longer. That some
Have
people
you
don't
guys
like.
done it at 2? How does it work at 2? Do you know?
I thought it was still pretty good at 2. It's better with more players, but I would still play it at 2, no problem. And it even includes a solo mode.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to back that one, I think.
Bob, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to make it to Origins.
Well, I think that was more like anybody that would be at Origins, but
yes, true. We are going to have that prototype. Very true. And I know, Tim, you bought Mutton Bustin' from them last week.
I haven't played it yet.
I love the title.
I haven't played it yet. It's still on.
No,
it's on my
kinda
shelf
like
of opportunity. Yeah, Mutton Bustin'.
Okay,
now
is it good?
I haven't played it yet. I'll tell you when I play it. I'll let you know.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a few prototypes with us.
So, Mike,
yes.
I want to hear the update on Mutton Bustin'. For sure.
Okay,
I will make sure.
I love the theme, but I'm not sure. I was looking at the game, some of the pictures of the game a little bit, and I was a little like, is this gonna be?
I'm not sure.
Sold.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think. It looks cute, but I don't know if that's enough.
I mean, we play a lot with kids, actually. So, like, if it's a more like kid-friendly game, that's not necessarily
I don't know why I haven't tried to get my kids to play this yet. I think you just cracked it.
Or
I
me.
think that's what I need to do.
I mean, we got what games have we gotten like little kids to play that I was surprised. I'm surprised we taught my 5-year-old niece Draftosaurus.
Nice.
That's maybe not so surprising. Q-Birds, he taught the 7 and 8-year-olds with anger issues how to play freaking Q-Birds. So
you need to teach them Happy Salmon. That's my go-to game with the.
You did Happy City
kids.
with Wes and Stella though, but they're nice kids, or they're good kids. Or I shouldn't use the words good and nice. They're
they're intelligent kids.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
Well, they're not all.
Ahoy Kitten, also really good from Mayday Games.
Which one? Which kitten?
Ahoy Kitten.
Oh, you were talking about that one.
Oh my god, I never stop talking about that game. I love that game so much.
That one sounds like fun, actually. Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
I just played it a bunch over the weekend. Again, taught some kids, and my daughter likes to play it. So
yeah, because he's always taking games to work. So finding games that are good to like play with kids that aren't too like.
Well, I teach a lot of special ed.
Sure.
But I like the special ed kids like more. I taught I taught for 26 years. I'm retired now, but I taught regular ed. Now I kind of think God, it's so weird. But the special ed kids are so much nicer
because they have more teacher aides.
They're just
There's
more.
more
They're
adults
like
in
more socialized than the regular ed. That's what's so bizarre.
The district close to us is pretty bad though. There's so.
But yeah, I mean, I like being able to. Well, it's his godchildren. He has godchildren.
2 godchildren and a niece and a grand.
It was so fun teaching them games when we were visiting.
Oh, they're big gamers.
They're in like Western New York.
Northern New York.
No, Western.
Northwestern New York.
All right, Northwest.
Yeah, they call it West New York. Don't get it twisted.
It's closer to Buffalo than
because Western New York pizza is different than Eastern New York pizza.
I'll just take New York pizza.
There's no one New York pizza, but anyway.
Actually, I like deep dish pizza the best, and that's like
Chicago.
21st century game still. French Quarter, I'm really looking forward to. That's probably the one of the 20th century games we're definitely going to get soon.
I would highly recommend checking out Nova Roma if you're going to the 25th century booth.
This
is actually
I love Aroma
for Donsky's newest design. So, and 25th Century will be distributing it at Origins and Gen Con.
What else has that designer done?
He has done Lockup, Resurgence, and Endless Winter.
Oh, this is the Endless Winter guy. Okay.
I've heard of that.
Nice I was Hospital. Thinking of doing that at RageCon, but I didn't. No.
I really like Resurgence. Man, that game is really good.
Resurgence is great.
What's your thoughts on Endless Winter?
Haven't played.
It was. I had like a mixed experience my first play, but I recognized it could get better if I played it more because I didn't play it very well, and it felt like a little bit of a slog for me because of that. So I just need to play it again and try different things.
It seems like it's a tight game to me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones because we're looking at the schedule of things to demo for the playthroughs at RageCon, and that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't.
Endless Winter.
Yeah, it's the same publisher as Unconscious Mind, different designer.
Yeah,
sounds interesting.
It is an interesting theme.
Really cool.
Is this the part where we pull out charcuterie?
Yeah, that's on my list.
I have it.
Wait,
charcuterie's on my list for.
Backed it.
Pull it out.
I mean, honestly, I felt like they could have made the board. You put it on the charcuterie board a little bigger. I had a hard time.
Where is it?
I may not have the right skills for demonstrating.
I think that restriction was intentional because if it got too big, you can kind of do whatever you want with what's on your board.
It looked my board looked like a mess. Okay, all right, I got to pull my.
I have a couple of things to say. We only played it at 2. Okay, I want to caveat this, and it's a pick and choose, split and choose game.
Yep,
which we really like because Tussie Mussy is probably one of our favorite games. Jixie Academy, which most people know as Hannah Makoji. We prefer the Jixie Academy version. I don't know where it went. But anyway, it came in recently because I backed that Kickstarter. I really like it. Like, I love this theme. I love the idea of an open tile placement game because most tile placement games are like on a grid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really love the ice split. You choose mechanism. I love a good charcuterie board. I think the production is fantastic on this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely fantastic. At 2, it's really short, though. It's such a short game. Like, it was 10 minutes to go through a 2-player game.
Sounds about right.
That's my only criticism of it. I think it's really meant kind of to be a filler game or like an aperitif kind of game. Mm-hmm. I don't know at 4 or 5 or 6 how long he could extend this game, though. But because basically you're trying to get the same number of tiles right at any player count. Like, it's basically right.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a chance to play this one while it was on Kickstarter and really enjoyed it. And I ended up backing it. They said they will have it available in their booth at Origins.
Yeah, because there was a little bit of a controversy on this a little bit, talking about, Kickstarter dramas that a certain content creator would cover because they wanted to kind of get ahead of the curve because it's still fulfilling right now. It just started fulfilling, I think, in the last couple of weeks. And I think some game stores already have it. And they were trying to say, we know this is going to be at Origins and not everyone will have their copy of the game. We just want to kind of get ahead of that because I think they were worried about getting dragged.
Well, and to be fair to the game companies, though, right? Like booths at conventions are very, very expensive. And so you need to have product to sell. Right. So I think as long as you're upfront, and I feel like Third World has been, as long as you're upfront and go, hey, look, we've got this, we're going to have this available, I mean, it is what it is. You cannot fault a company for trying to make some money because you want them to keep making games, right? So.
Okay. And I would say they've been super communicative, like I back a lot of Kickstarters and I think they're really been very, very like professional and very transparent about a lot of things, more so than other companies, I think.
Well, and on top of that, this is the fastest fulfillment I've received of any Kickstarter, ever.
Well, Stonewall Present was the fastest for us, but
this showed up in 6 or 7 months. So just the simple fact that it was at a big box store 2 weeks before I got mine didn't bother me. Like this arrived so quickly. Like I can't see.
Yeah. And I would say like so cheap for the level of production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this is like a $30 Kickstarter, and like they have all those uniquely shaped tiles, and like
which one are we talking about?
Charcuterie, and the art is really good too. I love the art.
So good.
Watercoloring is ridiculous. Also, they have restocked Mission Control Critical Orbit, and they will have copies of the Stuff of Legend at the Third World Studios booth, which is 827.
Have you played the Mission Critical?
Yeah, I love that game.
Love it.
I love Mission Control. It's so good.
We're big fans.
Is that a co-op?
Fun. Yes. It is a real-time. It is a real-time co-op.
I remember that it was real time.
Super. I love that game so much. I started stalking one of the designers and made him be my friend.
Have you guys played what's the Sky Teams? Is Sky Teams on this list?
Oh, Mike doesn't like Sky Team. That's too bad.
I love Sky. It's one
of his favorite games.
It was the best game that came out last year, in my opinion.
Really? I've been hearing a lot. How do you think Mission Critical compares to that one, or are they comparable at all?
Different. They're just very different.
They're very different. Yeah.
There's Donnie. He's the co-designer of Mission Control. I love Donnie. He is a super awesome dude. And I will support him and Corey, like any of their games they make. I'm going to definitely look at.
Yeah. What's the theme of Mission Critical again? Is that the one where you're ambulance drivers? Or?
No. So Mission Control, Critical Orbit is one person. Think of Apollo 13. So one person is the Ethernaut. They're stuck up in space. Stuff is broken. And then the other 3 players, because you can play up to 4, the other 3 players are basically like different representatives of different countries, right? So there's like India, there's Germany, and there's the United States. I'm sorry, Donnie, if I'm butchering this. I apologize. It's like extra pressure now.
No, it's coming back to me now because I think I got it confused with.
And then everybody is playing like their own kind of game, but the Ethernaut is rolling dice, and everybody has to agree on the numbers that are going to get used. And so when everybody, all the other players are completing parts of their own puzzle, then they give that Ethernaut like a piece that then he can use to try to like connect his oxygen lines.
See, no offense to Mike, but that sounds less random to me than Sky Teams.
So Mike, explain Sky Team better than I explain Mission Control, and I know you're very.
Sky Team is fairly random because 2 players have 4 dice. One's the pilot, one's the co-pilot. And the idea is that you have to land the plane within 7 rounds, and each round consists of you losing altitude and getting closer to the runway. You have to the pilot has to get the landing gear out. The co-pilot has to get the brakes out. You have to keep the plane flat because
there's a lot of stuff to balance, right?
It's that mission.
It's a lot of. Let me compare the value on my dice to your dice, and the difference can affect what the plane does. But you do so without communicating. You have to communicate between the rounds. You can't do it during the rounds. And the tension, I think, is what makes this game shine. Plus, all of the replayability. There are tons of modules that make this game feel very fresh every time you play it.
So is mission critical? Because we usually don't like limited communication co-ops. Like, we struggle with that.
Mission Control, you could 100% talk. Sky Team, this is the big flaw for me in Sky Team. In Sky Team, you are a pilot and a co-pilot, and you cannot talk. It's like, why are these guys not talking? But yeah, Donnie's right. In Mission Control, talking is encouraged. Well,
I think that in Sky Teams, because you can both see the same information, right?
No, you don't know what. Oh wait, do you know what dice they have when they roll them?
You don't know what your partner rolls.
Yeah.
Because even we recently covered Sail, which is all play cooperative trick taking game that technically is limited communication, but you kind of have basically the same information, and you have some tools to kind of card count what's in the other person's hand.
Sure.
And even with that amount of information, we struggled.
It's still tough. I mean, that's the challenge, right? You don't want a co-op to be too easy.
True.
Yeah, and Eric's right. I thought in Mission Control, yelling and screaming was encouraged. Yeah, we get loud.
I like that vibe in a real-time game.
We get loud and rowdy. It gets tense.
Rich gets upset.
He seems like a mellow dude, and I can respect that. Donnie, are you guys gonna be at Origins? I'm gonna be really sad if you are, but
they are not.
But they're not gonna be there. Okay.
We got rid of the crew because it does not work that well at 2. And we don't like the limited communication. It was too easy. And we're not even the best at trick taking. Playing our playthrough of Sail proved that.
I want to keep playing that game. I want to get good at that game.
It was fun.
But that's a good sign.
That all play does.
Yeah.
That's a really good sign, though. You want to keep playing it, though.
I definitely do.
True.
That's what's up.
And I think you had more information. I felt like, I don't know. I feel like a game like The Crew, any limited communication co-op that is relying on what I feel is artificial tension of not being able to communicate. It's the same reason I don't like deduction games. Like, it's not necessarily fun for me. I don't feel like as good at that style of deduction that you really have to kind of do, or that kind of planning ahead or mitigation, I guess, in a limited information kind of setting of a game. But, it's just me. So I've heard a lot of great things about Sky Team. I know a lot of people really like it, though.
In my opinion, it will be a shame if it does not win the Spiel des Jahres.
Was it nominated? I just glanced through that list.
It was.
Cool.
And the other one that was nominated, I just don't even understand why it was nominated.
Which one?
Captain Flip. It's fine.
I like Captain.
It's on BGA, but yeah. Well, again, I
played it.
People, the Spiel des Jahres is technically a children's games award and not like a hobbyist game award in Germany.
Sure.
I played Captain Flip over the weekend. I did like it. Oh, that was good.
We played Forest Shuffle was one of the other nominees, right?
Oh, I like Forest Shuffle.
I really like that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
unbalanced.
That's part of the fun, though.
I like it better than Earth.
I think it gives me much more the sense of the eco theme, and we love any eco theme, and I like the combos you can create in that game. Like, you can kind of forge your own path, but I know there's people that say that certain strategies are super OP, and I don't know. I definitely think it can be swingy, for sure. But we really enjoyed that one. It's a little messy on the table presence, though. Like, the layering of the cards, it's just it takes up more space than you think it's going to. Like, it's a bit of a... And calculating your scores at the end, I think that's... Talk about point salad. Like, that's like a point nightmare. Is probably my main criticism of that game, actually. So...
Half the time I'm over here playing games with him, and then he has to score the game. Like, I'm jetting out of here, right? Like, as soon as the game
sometimes he leaves and I just text him what his score was.
Okay, hey, you won. Congratulations.
Exactly.
Like the other day, it was like, but sometimes I have to text him. We're playing Lata, which that is not on this list. I don't know when they're bringing that to the States. That's the follow-up to
I like
Cafe.
it.
If you know that game, Cafe.
Which is practically our favorite game.
It is one of our favorite games of all time. It's a card overlaying game. It's a Portuguese publisher.
And plus, it has the best artwork of any game.
It's very Art Deco.
I love Art Deco.
Engine building, card overlaying game. Really fun, 30 minutes or less. And they have a new one coming out, which I think this will definitely be. I think this was at last year's Spiel, but I don't know when they're coming to the States. But lots of definitely keep an eye for that. Keep an eye for the hotness. This is our plug for one game. I don't know.
There you go.
But
They're both really good games. Very different.
It's interesting to me. Origins, they have mostly American publishers, but there are some international publishers here. And it's interesting to me that Pythagoras doesn't have a presence here, but like Hachette does.
Oh, right.
You know.
Yeah, Hachette / Scorpion Mask. I mean, they're also just like 1,000,000% taken off. They are on fire. They are great. They've got a ton of really good titles.
I love Hachette, yeah. Okay, what else do we have in this range? Oh, I wanted to say about the all-play ones. We just, for our Japanese designer focus, we covered a Susumu Kawasaki game. So that Pitchbacks game, I think, is going to be one to look out for.
Switchbacks?
Yeah.
Which one?
It's kind of on the level of Dandelions, if you guys remember Dandelions.
Have not played, but I know Mike likes it.
This is kind of like, it's not exactly the same by any means. So you're hiking, right? The theme is you're hiking and you're marking off your trails. It's kind of like instead of dice placement in Dandelions, it's kind of like meeple placement, I believe. She is a really clever designer, though. She's another designer that does a really simple style card games mostly, or very simple games that are easy to teach and table, but has like this really fresh hook. Well, there's like this one little mechanic. So she's one of those designers that's all about like that one little mechanic that hooks you in. So
I think that makes all the difference. Yeah. Sometimes
because most of the games that other games that all play is having at Origins are trick taking games, and this is the one of the Japanese games they're importing that is not a trick taking game.
Sure. All Play's another company that I think lately has just kind of been crushing it.
Absolutely love them. Best art in the industry. They need to be nominated for some kind of art award this year. You know, like.
And the tiles in that one game look a lot like the same vibe as what is that? Mountain Goats.
Yeah,
that game's really
because they
fun.
have the same. They use the same artists.
Sure.
For their games. So.
Hey, pay artists. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
that's like their look, right? At this point, that's
right,
a big part of their branding. So,
yeah, no, it's good. You got a vibe, you know. You got a look. You got your catalog, you know, and everything.
And basically, All Play at this point is all importing Japanese games or featuring new and upcoming designers. So, if you're someone like us, that's kind of your wheelhouse of games, All Play is definitely the designer you should be paying attention to at Origins, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
Also, their games are cheap.
Oh,
their games are super cheap.
Games.
Yeah.
And they're small. Like we have a whole stack. I'm not gonna pull them down right now.
Yeah, no, we
have a bunch.
have a bunch of them.
Hey, Kabanga. Mike, if you see Kabanga at Origins, you have to buy it.
Who did Kabanga?
It's going to be an Amigo game.
Yeah.
I got to play that over the weekend. That game is awesome. I love it.
Did you guys pass vegetable
who
stock
had that?
yet?
Not yet.
You're still on Amigo. You're still on Amigo. Okay.
Vegetable stock is arcane. Nice, Tim. You got to play Kabanga, Tim?
Yeah, I played it with West and his son, and I played it, and we played with my daughter. And you were trying to. It's a hand shedding game, and so you've got different colored suits. You know, so there's blue, yellow, purple, red, whatever, green, maybe, I forget. And, but there's a number on either side of the blue card. So you know that that's where you're playing your blue cards. And so you're playing cards from your hand that are numbered and that are of the different colored suits. And so if there's like a 1 and a 16, you know, on either side, and then if I can play like a 14 down, and so now it's 14 and 16. anybody has the opportunity to play a card that goes in between the two cards that I just played. So somebody could play the 15, the blue 15. And if they do, they yell Kabanga, right? And I have to draw a card for each card that was played in between the card that I played.
So it's a little Six Nimmt-esque in that sense.
I don't know what that is, but probably. Would you say Simpsons-esque?
No.
Six Nimmt.
Oh, I don't know what Six Nimmt is.
K5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like for example, on that board, you can see there's a 12 and a 14. So, and that person in their hand, they have a blue 7. So they could play that 7 on the 14. So now anybody could play a card between 7 and 12 to try to get rid of cards from their hand. Right?
Oh, no, that's more like no thanks, I think.
And so you make other people draw while you're trying to get rid of all the cards in your hand. And
Interesting.
And it's really fun. It's very straightforward. It's very simple, but like I was playing it with my daughter who's 12 and then Wes' son, I think is like 11. And they were smoking the grown-ups at this game. It was awesome.
You want to know what though? I've noticed like
surprising.
So there's like these different genres of like card games that are really hot right now.
Mhm.
And I feel like the two main genres that are really like for trick takers and hand shedding games. There's so many hand shedding games coming out right now, is what I've noticed. And yeah, who's the designer on this?
I don't know who the designer is.
Michael Modler.
Okay. So it's Amigo.
But this game's great. I will just tell you, this game's really good. We had a great time with it.
Solid card game.
Amigo's really fun. I like Llama. I've got the Llama dice game. Amigo's fun. They're a nice company. I like them. Real small box, low price point, but very accessible games, right? Like you take these games and play them with people that aren't gamers. The guy who I was playing it with is like a professional board game developer, and he and I are having a great time. We're having just as much fun as our kids are playing it, so it's just it's a really good game. I really appreciate games like that. Kind of like you guys were talking about, you can take to a class, and the rules overhead is very low, but
I love low overhead rules.
Yes, but the fun value is very high,
That reminds me of games like 535, which is also a hand shedding game. That's what you can teach in literally 60 seconds and get people into, and it's card slapping fun.
Yeah.
I love those kind of games.
I'm a big fan of games like that because again, like we play with so many different levels.
Let's face it, you love turning new people on to great games.
Right.
Hell
you
yes.
Proselytize.
That's like the best.
You want to spread the love and I'm always trying to build up our like card repertoire of stuff that we can just pull out, and that, because we have a lot of friends that are like, I don't want to deal with all the rules. It's too much. I don't want to learn a new game. And like, if you have something that, okay, I can pull this out. I can teach it to you in like a minute. Maybe less. Like it's a simple concept, but something that gives you a strong strategy. So like low rules overhead, high strategy. Like and really like.
I have to hand it to those designers that can come up with
games the
Japanese
like that. Designers.
I just love that because it's like it's the entry level is so low. You can get into those games so quickly. It's not like you have to go pour through the
rule book. Yeah. Usually the rules on games like that are like this, right? It's like a piece of paper that's like folded up and stuck in the box. And you're like, oh, here it is. Okay, here's the.
I love those.
Got the whole rules.
That's the button shy shtick, right? Which sometimes I don't always stick to quite as condensed as it should be. But it's like I want a game that's portable, that's easy to table, that's good for multiple different occasions because you can't whip out a freaking like 2-hour Euro game and everyone's going to be down to do it. I've learned the hard way, believe me.
How many people have you gotten to play Feast for Odin?
You.
That's it. See? That's it.
Nice.
And he had to sleep with me to get it.
Hey, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
I'm definitely not beyond using my feminine wiles.
Right.
When I first met him and started playing games, he refused to play any Euro games. I have really worked hard to get him into. Now he is into the Euro games.
Yeah.
When he makes sick combos.
It was Castles of Burgundy that got me into games.
Oh, another game Mike hates.
I love that game.
Or Castles of Burgundy?
No.
Tim just keeps telling you inside jokes that you don't know. I love that game.
I thought you were about to be like, I literally, like, is it like, what do you call it? Like, the rarest creature in existence is a gamer that doesn't like Castles of Burgundy. And nobody can figure out why.
Right.
Nobody can tell you why we love Castles of Burgundy so much. It's literally like, so like the game that
because it's like well thought out. Every aspect of that game is just like,
even people that don't like Euro games like Castles of Burgundy. It's so bizarre.
It's the best game.
He said it.
Yeah,
I love.
There's somebody in our gaming group that really doesn't like it. It's not me.
I've never played it, so it's not me.
Well, you tell them that they are like the golden goose. They are the rarest creature in this entire world.
Writing that down.
But
is that Bob?
I wanted to mention vegetable stock if you guys already passed it.
Nope. I'm getting to Arcane right now.
Okay, we're still in A. Jeez.
Yeah. So for those of you that want to play Foundations of Rome but want a more accessible, cheaper cardboard version, your wishes have been answered, and Foundations of Metropolis will be demoed at Origins.
Okay. I'm very curious, like, because isn't the whole shtick of Foundations of Rome those minis?
Yeah.
Isn't that really the shtick?
It is. It is. It's a beautiful game.
Is the game itself really that original beyond that?
No, it's a really well-designed game that I do not like personally.
Sure.
But I think but I really appreciate it for what it is. I think it's really neat. I do love a game with amazing table presence, and this game has that in spades. I mean, 1,000,000%. This game will stop you in your tracks when you're walking by to look at it. But for me, I just have yet to have fun playing it. And I really like Emerson Matsuuchi as a designer. I think every other Emerson Matsuuchi game I've ever played. But this one I just don't.
I don't know if we played any Matsuuchi games. I've heard a lot about some of his designs. We need to try some. But I don't
Century
think
Spice Road.
Which one? I have played Century.
All of the Century games are Matsuuchi.
Yeah. I like the Gollum edition. I think.
Me too. The Gollum edition.
Those are the ones I know that seem to be the most popular.
Well, because the Gollum edition is the prettiest.
Yes. Yes, it is.
You're not wrong.
Yes, it is.
Do you like that one because it's very Splendor adjacent?
I like Splendor.
Please.
I love Splendor.
So I actually added vegetable stock to my list, not having known much about it other than commodity speculation and economic in a 20-minute package. Tell me why it's on your list.
Yeah, so this is one Suzanne actually has been proselytizing for quite some time. So I've done quite a bit of research on this one. And so it's basically like, it's kind of like point salad meets a stock manipulation game. So it's fast. So this is one of those, like, this is a Taiwanese game originally that's finally coming to the States. So this is one of those ones where grab it while you can kind of games, because it's, it's a lot of times when these like the Asian games that tend to come to the American market tend to be the cream of the crop generally. And this is one of those that I've just heard, like, it's just such a good, like, quick, fun, almost kind of push your luck a little bit with the stock manipulation because it's so short.
This one?
So you're basically, you have like the different vegetables and I'm a little fuzzy on all the mechanical details, but basically throughout the game, you can basically, it's similar to point salad, you're trying to score a particular vegetable by the end of the game, and the value of the vegetable can shift throughout the game based on what other players do to manipulate the value of that particular vegetable. So it's very much all stock manipulation and nothing but the stock manipulation on these vegetables. So it's almost kind of like point salad meets pit, is my understanding. So like this one, I think this will be like a super fun, easy to table, like quick card game. and one that I suspect will go out of print in the States very quickly.
Nice.
Yeah, my understanding of this was like you're dealt a hand of cards and you can keep the ones and they count as stocks, which of course are points at the end of the game. The card you don't keep manipulates the market on whatever it is.
Okay.
And so it plays very, very, yeah, like you said, very quickly. I don't remember where that market board went, but that's okay.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm focusing on some of the mechanics.
I'm
I do.
very interested in this one. So
Yeah, and I know the thing that people complain about with point salad is that I don't know what it is people complain about with point salad. I really like point salad. I like some veggies up in the section. So any excuse to get like a veggie or the food themed game, I'm all about.
Yeah, Point Salad. Once I played Point City, I felt like that did kind of replace Point Salad for me. But I do like I enjoyed Point Salad. That's why it got me onto Point City.
I mean, anything by Molly and the dudes, I'm all about.
Point City is really good. I really like Point City.
Yeah, Point City was fun.
I haven't played Point Salad yet.
World Wonders is
haven't.
actually one that oh no, I'm thinking of Wandering Towers. Sorry.
You are. Do we really need another Wonders themed game? I mean, really? Stephen Armini, Button Shy published Ancient Realms. That's the only Wonders themed game you need. Okay.
I did just play Seven Wonders Architects, and I really liked that one. I thought that was pretty good.
Okay.
We could play Seven Wonders Duel again, actually.
But he said
Duel's
Seven
fine.
Wonders Architect.
Architects is kind of neat.
I really like Duels, but Seven
Duel
Wonders was one of our gateway games. For sure.
That was totally
it's interesting you're seeing all these games coming out suddenly themed around Seven Wonders things again.
This is a popular game.
Well,
right.
I think it's far enough in the past, though, that a lot of people feel more comfortable tackling that theme again, I guess.
All right, so this is going to be my under the radar pick here because I was reading this game from Around the Stump Games called Button Kingdoms.
Okay.
Everything I read about this game just sounds like it is up my alley. So I'm just going to read the description. Button Kingdoms is a bribery-based deck-building game with simultaneous actions where players take on the role of child commanders of their own fantasy stuffed animal army. Yeah,
bribery.
That sounds fun.
I like the game bribery.
I love bribing and that social interaction in games. The goal of the game is to build up your kingdom of fluffy fighters by collecting currency in the form of
fluffy fighters.
Okay.
Seize the throne of other players while staying true to your character's own secret motives.
What's that?
Sounds awesome.
Which was the publisher again?
This is Around the Stump Games, and it's called Button Kingdoms. This is my under the radar pick here. I am going to visit these guys, and I will find out what this game is about.
Here it is, Button Kingdom.
Yeah.
No, we're pulling up our own extra tabs because...
No worries. Hard to read mine. I get it.
I need to show him this.
But yeah, this one just looks fun. Talking about cute animals, there you go. This one just sounds really fun.
So is this asymmetric at all?
Good question. I mean, I literally have only read the BGG page. That's the only thing I know about this game.
In a children locked in a stuffed animals game of
it says 3 to 4 players. That's
3 to 4. It does say Q4 2025 release, so maybe that means it's coming to Kickstarter later this year.
Yeah, it almost kind of sounds like what's that campaign game?
Fables.
Stuffed Fables.
Stuffed Fables. It almost sounds like a similar theme to that, but like instead of being cooperative, it's like maybe asymmetric competitive. Which I'm into that theme though. But it's hard. We can get 3-player games tabled. It's just less likely.
Yeah. I mean, we tend to play all of our games together. We do get a third player.
Well,
now and
the only people we really play with consistently at this point is my niece. But she has a small child, so not competing, but like committing to a campaign game, like it's probably going to be like sporadic
I do
sessions.
love campaign games, though.
We do like Legacy, and we want to do more heavy campaign games. We've only done like more lighter, medium weight Legacy games. I'm still trying to look into more. Well, this isn't campaign or scenario based, is it?
No,
I don't think so.
No, but this is all a cute thing. Yeah, I will look forward to your update on that one because that one does look interesting.
All right, so we have to talk about BA Games and Forges of Ravenshire.
I saw Jeff and Jamie did a preview on this. It looked interesting. It basically is seemed to be like a basic Euro game, but just there's badgers. Incorrect?
You are incorrect in the way that this is an engine building game that is like your engine starts in third gear. I mean, you're already running.
Okay.
And it does a really fun dice placement mechanic. So you're going to place a die on the board. And depending on the value of the die and the place you put it, it's going to tell you what resources you get. And then you're going to pick up a different die off of the board. And depending on the die value and where you picked it up from, it's going to tell you what resources you get. And then you're going to put that die on your player board, and you're going to run down a series of actions depending on the color of the die that you picked up. So right off the bat on one action, right, just by taking one turn, you're going to generate 3 different kinds of resources right away. And then once everybody has gone through all the dice drafting part of it, then you run sort of your engine, and you are like building like steel, or maybe you're tanning leather and making charcoal and things like that to then fill contracts.
Like a blacksmithing theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but the art is awesome. I love the art.
It just looks cool.
I really enjoyed this game. Full disclosure, I am friends with the designer, but I love this game anyways.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I was on the fence of. I like the whole little like red wall aesthetic that's coming back into games right now.
There's very much a
another
red wall
one on this list that I want to talk about that I need
for
to
sure.
sell Rich on. But I grew up reading like that red wall stuff. This gave me a very red wall vibe with the art, especially. I love combos. Rich loves combos. That sounds almost like dice action chaining.
Yeah, kind of is. If you like firing off big crazy combos, this game kind of does that. It's because
he loves it. He's totally combo tapped.
You'll like this.
I'm pretty good at it.
And I would say to anybody that's watching that is at Origins, like just go to the booth and sit down and play it, like play a round or two, or stand over and like watch a round or two being played, and you're gonna get a really good idea of that game. This game is very easy to learn, but there's lots of strategy to it.
Weight to me, at least as far as rules.
Yeah, it's light to medium with learning the rules, but then getting good at it. Right, you can really. It rewards a lot of replay, and again, there's a lot of variety. They do give you the option for asymmetric player powers. It plays really well at 2, whether or not you decide to use the AI. I haven't played with the AI, but I have played it at 2 players without it. The AI, and I thought the game was still really interesting and like tons of really good choices.
Yeah, we love dice worker placement. Like anything you
that's
just say the words dice worker placement.
Yeah,
that's our love language.
You definitely got to check this one out. It's very fulfilling to play, and while you have to plan ahead and you got to think about your turns, it's not punishing. It just feels good to play. I call it a cozy game. It just everything you do feels good in this game.
Well, and the other thing though that I really appreciate about this game that you can't always do in some Euros is like this game doesn't destroy you if you have a bad turn, right? Or you don't perfectly
we've recently been
optimize
the White Castle, and I was surprised that he actually liked the White Castle because he's better at that style of game, I think, than I am. I'm very much I want the combos because I want the serotonin rush. I want it to feel good.
Yeah.
But like the White Castle, for instance, is a game where if you can't find the combos, the game does punish you. because you only have like a limited number of turns. It's so tight.
Right.
And I like the idea of a combo game that's not as tight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want some flexibility because it's like, oh, I was trying to build that and somebody did it before me. Well, now my whole game is screwed and I can't do anything else. Well, that's no fun, right? That's a feel bad moment.
Right.
And this game doesn't really give, I don't know. I don't get that vibe every time that I played this. So
chill. Yeah, it's been on my list. I've been on the fence about it. So I'm glad.
I would say to like keep looking at it and see if it can entice you into jumping over.
Also, there's a good chance we're going to bring this to Origin. So if anybody wants to play it, we'll probably have a copy with us.
Chill.
Who are you kidding? You'll definitely have a copy with you. If you don't have a copy with you, you're doing something wrong. You better have a copy with you.
Well, it's Bob is the one that has it right now, so it's on him.
It is true.
Have any control over it. Bezier, they even Ted Alspach is working on a trick-taking game.
Told you. No, it's like it's been for a while now in the industry. So even Bezier is getting in on the action because Allplay is importing all the Japanese games. So everyone just wants a slice.
Yeah,
and that's the other very popular genre in Japan. Japanese card games is hand shedding as well. So that's why I say I think the trick taking has been coming on because trick taking. There's a long American tradition of trick taking, but now the hand shedding is coming in as well. So that's why I think how much you've been seeing so many trick taking games coming out the last couple of years. I think in a couple of years, that's what it's going to be with even more hand shedding games.
Evan, when you show up at a convention that I'm at, I will definitely play a trick taker, your trick taking game.
Xylotar is the best theme ever, he says.
Yes, I'm so excited for this. This is on my list.
Look at this guy.
Look at him. It's a polar bear playing a rainbow Xylotar.
Oh my God.
It's
what is a Xylotar?
It's like, so you know what a keytar is, right?
No.
So a keytar is a piano that you hold like a guitar and you play. It's like a synth.
Okay, I've seen
But
that.
instead of it being a piano, it's like a xylophone. So you're literally playing a percussion instrument like a guitar.
That sounds
And also you're a polar bear. This is technically
And also you're a polar bear.
This is technically a trick-taking game.
All right. I've got bad news for Mike and Bob because they have a shopping list for me that is growing. And it's all these really badass small games. Xylotar is totally a game that I would buy like blind just based on the cover without having any idea on how it's played.
It's a polar bear playing not just a guitar, a xylophone. I'm a mallet percussionist.
Yes,
by the way.
he plays.
I have played the xylophone and the vibraphone professionally, so I'm like, yes, I have to get this game.
Nice.
I heard it was really good too. I heard because basically it's a trick taking game with like there's some deduction memory element in it. Or I think it might be blind bidding or something like that with the tricks. So,
yeah, I want this game.
Sounds interesting.
Super. I think that's the most of the Bezier titles.
That's going to be at Origins. That's one of them. You didn't write it down.
Yeah, once I can find a copy of it.
Oh, there it is. Xylotar. Yeah. That does sound interesting.
Yeah, we need more trick takers too.
Okay, looks like Bitewing will be there, but with Elf Creek in parentheses here, I'm assuming they're in their booth. They've been reprinting a lot of Reiner Knizia games like Cascadero and Cascadito. Right. I backed Zuvadis, and the production quality and the art on that game was amazing.
Yeah.
Super impressed with what I got when I backed Zuvadis. Although I need to replay it because my first play came out really flat.
I heard good things about it. The Zuvadis, because it's a reprint, right?
Yeah, of Quo Vadis.
Is Cascadero a new writer or is this a reprint too?
I thought this was a new one.
Yeah, because I've been seeing a lot of people.
It's a re-implementation of Cascadero, but that was a new game too. So I think this is actually him doing like territory control.
Right, like, and there's a roll and write version of it too that's coming out at the same time as this.
That's the Cascadito.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's this one.
So it's area control, right?
Yeah, like with some kind of route building and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because Ryder Knizia games generally are very easy to learn. Like in my experience, like I feel like they're pretty quick to learn. They're very accessible. So
Pretty streamlined.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like he knows what he's doing because he's designed a game or two.
Well, he spits it. He basically poops out like 10 games a year.
Oh my God,
so.
He
seriously.
does. I know.
And they're all good.
Yeah, we need to look at what his diet is.
If John is listening to this, it's like, I really don't want to be a Knizia hater, but, you know, he loves, that's his favorite designer. John Dewitt's favorite designer. But they're I would say the majority of Knizia games I played, I have enjoyed or at least respected them because, I mean, yeah, he's a really solid designer. I mean, you know, he's. I still haven't figured out what the heck is going on in, what's the Babylon one? Tigris and Euphrates.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't understand what's going on in that game, but, you know, that's a me thing.
Yeah, I haven't played that one.
And then we played San Francisco with John. I did enjoy that one. I'm very interested in.
I haven't seen it very many places.
Then we played High Society.
Oh,
yeah, that was good. That was a bidding game. Yeah, I'm always down to try Knizia, but he's not one that is like, you know, I'm gonna go out of my way to seek out either. Because there's so many games he comes out with.
Oh, there's a ton, right? For sure.
So it's hard to know if it's going to be like, oh my God, amazing, okay, or just like,
fulfilling.
Some of the kids and small games he comes out with all the time are a little like, you know, whatever. But so the more like, okay, this is a midweight Euro style game, generally tend to be more solid, I think.
So Bob has a question for you guys. Since you play mostly two players, are you fans of Star Wars? And have you tried Star Wars Rebellion if you are?
Here's the thing. Okay, so I'm very serious answer to this. I am a Trekkie, and my best friend in the entire world, her name is Kat. She is a diehard Star Wars fan to the point that her husband, and her two kids have done a group Star Wars costume together where she was Darth Vader and her husband was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Nice.
And so my godson Wesley is a very serious gamer, but he's still younger. And so once he comes of age, you know, turns that magical number of 13, I'm probably going to gift him and his mom Star Wars Rebellion because I think that would be the game.
Oh, I love that game. It's so good.
I've heard so many good things about it, but I don't know that Rich is really into the lore enough to really get into that game.
I don't know a damn thing about it.
Didn't you go see Star Wars when it originally came out, though?
Okay, I can't. Let's just say that I don't know that this is a family show, but I can't really discuss why I missed most of Star Wars, except to say that I saw it at a drive-in. So
okay.
So all right. So I love it. I'm here for it.
All that to say, I would love to play Star Wars Rebellion, but maybe if I did get it, it'd be something I probably would play with my best friend who lives halfway across the country. So it's just kind of hard.
So Andy, you're a Trekker. Who's your captain?
Cisco.
Space
9 all the way. Actually, I should say Kira in that one episode where she took over for Cisco.
Oh, sure. I was very late to the Deep Space Nine. Like, I watched the whole series about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, and was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Everyone that has ever been telling me that Deep Space Nine was great was right.
Right, because it's the most story driven.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's the most it's basically an allegory for genocide, so it's pretty heavy. But I think if not, I love Deep Space Nine, but if really you put a gun to my head, said, which Star Trek captain do you trust the most? Picard all the way. I grew up, me and my mother used to watch Next Generation when it aired originally in syndication. Back to back with Xena. So that's me.
No, it's awesome. I'm a Trek fan. I love both. I've got feet in both worlds. you know, but I grew up a Kirk, you know, diehard Kirk fan, but I grew up watching those movies and that old show, you know, the original series. Kind of came late to Next Generation. Was aware of it and still saw all of the Next Generation movies in the theater because they were Star Trek movies. I wanted to see Star Trek movies.
Now, my father was a Star Wars fan, so you know, I did. I was obsessed actually with the Ewok movies as a child.
Oh yeah. They're not good, but I get get being obsessed with them.
Good, but it's just the childhood memories.
Yeah, for sure. I was there.
Believe me, I know.
But I didn't watch Star Wars until I was 9. Right. And like I watched it on my own. Don't ask me why. I watched Star Wars privately on my own. It was like, oh, this is really good. But you know, I was watching Star Trek with my mom before I saw the original trilogy of Star Wars. And hot take, I mean, like obviously I still have not seen the new trilogy, but I'm really more of a fan of the more comic book and novelization lore. And I do not recognize the new trilogy as canon. So
nice.
As Star Wars fans.
Nice. That's fine.
But I really want to try Star Wars Rebellion because I've heard it's really good too.
It's really good. It's very on point with the theme and the style. Like you feel like you're playing through the original trilogy.
Because one of you plays as the Empire and the other person is the Resistance.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of like a war game, isn't it?
Y'all, yes, but y'all could just play the Star Wars deck building game. It's a 2-player game and it's great.
Is that the new one?
Yeah, it's really good. Not Star Wars Unlimited. That game's fine, but that's a collectible card game. Star Wars, the deck building game, is straight up somebody's playing Rebellion, somebody's playing Dark Side.
We can try that.
Yeah, because Rich is allergic to magic and all LCGs in general. And CCGs.
Sure. That's smart. That's smart.
I, meanwhile, am still Arkham Horror curious. So, you know, I am amenable to such things.
Nice. Nice. I love it. I'm here for
it.
All right, Mike, get us back into Origins.
Well, I kind of skipped
Evil
over
Corp. I'm really excited about Evil Corp. I think that looks like a fun game because we really love Monster Core anything, and we are the players. We don't want to fight against the dragons. We don't want to fight against the demons. We want to be the demons and we want to be the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We want to be Godzilla. So this looks like a really fun. I don't know that it's basically just a basic worker placement game, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't
know
a lot about this one.
Running a corporation. I just love this theme. I
sure.
just think it's so hilarious.
Area majority deck bag pool building.
Okay, there's bag building in this one, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that I liked bag building until Grove.
True. Steven Armini has a really good bag building game, which is very underrated. So, and we are finally going to play Orleans at this RageCon. So
I like Orleans quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get Rich into more bag building games.
And I love like Quacks of Quedlinburg and Clank.
Yeah, we've still never done Clank, which is surprising considering how much we like deck building games.
I liked Altiplano more than Orleans. Same designer, also a bag builder.
I didn't know Altiplano was a bag builder. It's interesting. Yeah, it's a genre I want to explore more of, so that sounds like fun. I just love them.
So, Bois de Jus or Hachette board games. I'll have to check this one out.
Bois de Jus, yeah.
Yeah, Evil Corp.
Yeah. Which Bois de Jus also does one of our favorite games is Wild Space, which that's the same designer and publisher, I think, for is Tribes of the Wind, which is still a game that's on my short list to get. That's sort of a last year release.
Brotherwise, of course, is going to have the new version of Boss Monster. I'm actually more interested in this dungeon cart because I like racing games.
It's a standalone game, right? Aren't these all standalone games?
Yeah. So this is basically a Boss Monster themed Mario Kart game.
See, he refused to learn Boss Monster.
What?
My niece loves that game.
I don't even know.
I like Boss Monster.
Next time we go to Anna's, we need to play Boss Monster with her for sure.
Boss Monster is responsible for one of the worst experiences I've ever had playing board games, unfortunately.
Oh god.
So,
And it wasn't even with my niece's baby daddy caught a pug.
So I have not gone back to that one, but I always kind of like this theme and the concept of it. Now, of course, they've got Super Boss Monster, which looks like a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things about Overboss. Is the only reason I would consider.
Yeah, I haven't played Overboss. I kickstarted Boss Monster 100 years ago, so I've got stuff for that.
Long.
Yeah.
Huh. Of course, Burnt Island Games is going to be there, which is also kids' table board gaming. They're going to be demoing How to Save a World, which we got to preview. This game's fantastic, by the way. This is one of the
really good.
more unique worker placement games I've played recently. They're demoing it, so if you want to check it out before you get your fulfillment or it hits retail probably next year, I highly suggest checking out How to Save the World.
Is Burnt Island the same thing as KTBG?
Yeah,
same owners. So basically, they look at a game, decide if the theme will fit more of the kids' table side or the Burnt Island side. But yeah, same people.
Yeah.
And I would say if you have questions or are curious, watch our video. Or you could we've got a couple videos. We've got you guys playing it on TTS, right? We've got Yuval was on the show, and we have a preview episode.
Yeah, because I mostly know them for Roberta Taylor, who's one of our other favorite designers. So I didn't know they were part of the same thing. That's interesting.
She's got some in the kids' table section, which is further down.
Oh yeah, she has a couple that we want to talk about. Yeah,
and of course they reprinted, Endeavor, Age of Sail, and then have the new Deep Sea as well. So,
yawned.
I never actually played that. So going on down to Capstone, I was super interested in Anunnaki Dawn of the Gods because it's a Luciani
alien astronaut theorist.
Alien.
They have a whole series of them now, right?
Yes.
Simone Luciani, I love. Is also one of my favorite era designers for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to see what he could do in a 4X game, but it was so ballsy. Bold for him to just suddenly do a 4X game, and I'm like, I'm not going to back it, but I definitely want to check this one out.
Good for him, not his wheelhouse, but himself.
It looks.
I mean, they do such convoluted games already. It's just a progression for him, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's 60 to 120. If you can get a 4X game in 2 hours, sign me up. If it's good.
Sure.
I don't believe that it's actually 2 hours. I will say that.
The box lies. The box always lies to you.
I will say that. But it looks beautiful, and I would 1,000,000% sit down to play this damn game. It looks great. But
I want to check this out so bad.
This is the one I could even get Rich to get into just based on the theme, because he loves that whole, alien astronaut there.
Oh my god! I spent too much time watching.
I was raised as a Scientologist, so they're all about that alien astronaut theory stuff too. Like the 12th planet and all that freaking Nibiru, like that whole action. Now, I think it's a fascinating idea. Definitely makes for really interesting lore. But yeah, I mean, like anything Simone Luciani or what's his name, Demilo Saban. Any of those guys, I'm down for.
Sign me up, Evan. You just got to come to the Midwest and come to one of our many great conventions.
Yeah, once money is no object, I would definitely be all up on Origins.
He'd be all for it.
Because
I'm trying to get that other.
Supposed to be like the bigger one. That's just the huge expo hall, but Origins is a little. Well, I don't know. Have you been to Origins before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the vibe there?
Pretty chill.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a con where you can actually play games.
Yeah.
Gen Con, you're not really playing games,
right?
Unfortunately, but Origins has, it's just so big, and it's more about consumerism. Am I allowed to say that?
Right, buying games.
Well, yeah,
that's what Gen Con is. Origins is a mix of that, but plenty of opportunities to sit down and play games.
Yeah.
So it's
a good mix of both. Yeah. Of course, Capstone makes all kinds of great games. New expansion for Orleans. There you go.
Capstone also, is this the same publisher that has an expansion coming out for Juicy Fruits?
Yes.
Mystic
right
Island.
here, Mystic Island.
We love Juicy Fruits. It's
Juicy Fruits is one of our favorite
time.
games. Yeah.
So we definitely get that one.
I just bought that this year on sale, and I need to get it to the table.
Yeah.
I've
So
heard
if
great
you
things
like-
about
it's
it.
so good.
Yeah, if you basically the core of that game is what do you call those kinds of puzzles?
Well, it's movement, but
Like the rush hour puzzles.
Grid movement.
God, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, but
I feel like
there's bribery in that game.
Ooh. Ooh.
Play with the lemonade, the factory side.
Not at first.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, there's room to grow.
The timer of the game is the amount of bribes you all do.
I love it. I gotta get this to the table. Oh my god, I gotta get this to the table.
Good. It's
that is so good.
The main puzzle of that game is a slide puzzle, so everyone has their own slide puzzle that they're doing. It's so good. And this is a scenario. I think this gives you like scenarios that you can play.
Yeah,
like a mini campaign.
It's so good.
Looks like it has 3 modules.
And also, Juicy Fruits has one of the best solo modes in a game I've ever played, because all the other sides of the boards are the solo modes. And so, there's already solo scenarios in the base game. So I think this is just adding multiplayer scenarios to that.
Yeah, everybody that talks about this one raves about it.
Mm-hmm.
I really got.
It's really fun. It's so good, and it's easy to teach. It's super easy to teach in table.
Yeah,
like you could. I mean, you probably couldn't play it with kids younger than 8, but I think 10 plus, you could totally play that.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure.
A new expansion for Orleans.
We're going to be trying Orleans for the first time at RageCon, so we will see. I've heard nothing but amazing things about Orleans, so I'm really excited.
It is good. It's a good game. Rats of Wistar, which was very popular last year.
This is the
another
one I
Luciani game.
Rich to get. This is the other red wall themed one. But is this another Simone Luciani? Who just designed this one?
It is.
Okay, there you go. It's heavy from what I've heard, but I think it's on the heavier side of medium, maybe the lighter side of heavy. Compared to the theme, I know it's supposed to be heavier than you would think for something about cute rats in a monastery.
Yeah, exactly.
But it seems for Simone Luciani and them about par for the course. So I think my impression is that if you play games like Teotihuacan and stuff, this one is not too much of a further shoot in that direction.
Does this have a rotating action wheel?
I love a rondelle.
He loves rondelle.
Well, not necessarily a rondelle. I mean a rotating action wheel like Terracotta Army, where this wheel constantly.
If it's a wheel or a circle shape, it's a rondelle. Okay, that's my personal opinion. But
except that you don't have to pick a direction; you can just go anywhere on it. But
sure. But if it's in a wheel or circle shape, whether it's actions or dice or resources, I'm all about it. I just love the circle. No, this looks similar to Praga Copy Regni, which is one of my favorite games of all time, as far as the way that action wheel is working. Or Coloma, which is a Johnny Pack game, which has that sort of dual layered wheel of action selection, which I love. So. Yeah, we're going to have to... It might be a little heavy for Rich at first, but I think I could get him into it. Now, Kutna Hora is coming up, right?
Yep. This was the solo game everybody raged about recently, 20 Strong from Chip Theory Games. I frankly don't know anything about it, though. I have not played any Chip Theory games.
Chip Theory, yeah, we haven't either, because I almost considered Burn... What was it?
Burn Cycle.
Burn Cycle looked really interesting because I love cyberpunk. I absolutely love
me
cyberpunk.
Too.
But it just looked a little too involved. We haven't really gone down the mini games route, which is why I haven't really gone for a lot of Chip Theory games or Awakened Realm stuff. So,
yeah, it's an undertaking to get their games to the table. There you go, Kutna Hora. This is one I may pick up.
I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's city builder, basically. It's very Euro-y. But I like this whole there's this whole economy in the game that relates to the mining and then also the silver. Taxes. You're constantly producing taxes in this game. So there's like an economic element to this Euro game, which is very interesting to me. And I love any city builder.
Yeah.
And
that combination.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard some mixed things about like, you know, the balance of certain things. I think I don't know that it's a level of asymmetry necessarily, but like you can like corner different I can't even remember what it was that the criticisms were, but I like the art on the tiles. Like you can't really tell it, so there's like this black and white board, and then as you build the city, there's like this colored art as you're building it out. That's really cool.
And also just the fact that Check Games consistently puts out quality games.
I agree.
As a factor. Yeah.
So this, my understanding is this is more like heavier side of midweight type of Euro game. So not like not like board and dice level, you know.
Right. It says it's a 3-3. Sounds about right. On weight.
Who? You keep going, baby.
So Little Alchemist. This is interesting because for the longest time, I probably would still say Alchemist is my favorite deduction game of all time.
Oh, so this is like the beginner version of that.
It is. And the only problem is that if you go WoW without playing Alchemist, you completely got to relearn how the deduction works. And it's not that straightforward. It's a process to relearn the deduction in Alchemist, but it's a great game. So if they have a more accessible version, I would love to check it out.
Now, for Alchemist, can you play it without the app? I've heard conflicting things about that.
You can,
but someone has to run the deduction part.
Like, so it's just like a quality of life thing.
Yeah, you're basically mixing components, but somebody or an app has to determine what the result of mixing those two components is. So they have to give you that secret information.
See, I still don't know if I like deduction games or not.
They're not my favorite, but
Mike, that SETI game that you're over, I thought that looked pretty neat.
I know, me too. Just because I'm obsessed with astrobiology.
It does look cool.
I love the search for alien life. I think this is so fascinating as a theme.
Multi-use cards. Whoops.
We love multi-use cards.
Me too.
They're the literal best.
Variable setup.
Who's the designer?
I don't know who the designer is. I know it's a CGE game.
Okay.
Thomas Oleg? I am not.
Oh, he must be a new one. Yeah.
Garden, I feel like I've heard of, but.
But how abstract is it going to be? Right.
I don't think it's very abstract. I feel like it's maybe a more like a slightly crunchier like version of like the Search for Planet X. So like a little more worker placement-y. The board shifts because you know the constellations move. You know,
different layers, like that scene from the Dark Crystal.
Dude, I love Dark Crystal so much.
I'm not wearing my Dark Crystal shirt. I'm too Skeksis for my shirt.
Nice.
Stars, orbits, constellations, putrid lizards. I really wish they would bring out with a better Dark Crystal game. Now that we finally had our Games of Thrones era like reboot.
Yeah.
Freaking like screw Netflix for canceling that because it was so good. But anyway.
Dolphin hat with some
taco cat cheese pizza. Yeah.
No.
Gelflings. Gelflings. Yeah, thank you, Evan.
Elf Creek looks like
you got to do the Skeksis voice of Gelflings. You got to.
Do I do that?
You got to show it. Okay.
I don't know. What?
I'm trying to get him to perform. Sorry.
I don't.
No, go. The Gelfling.
I don't think I can. I don't know it.
We'll have to say
it's hard on the spot. Guys. It's hard to do on the spot.
I just don't know what he's talking about. That's all. I mean,
Gelfling.
Gelfling. Yeah, I like.
The Dark Crystal is my favorite movie as a child, which tells you a lot about me.
I have a stuffed fizz gig. Like the open. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my god. Kira. That's another Kira.
Kira.
I just love anyone
Yes.
Kira. I'm good with Kira.
All right, Elf Creek. Do they have Santa's Workshop to demo and stuff, Mike?
Santa's Workshop.
Is there going to be union busting in this game?
Ooh. I don't know.
I kept hearing the song. When
Santa's
I saw that,
a corrupt oligarch.
I kept hearing the song.
Eat the rich.
Reindeer in my head.
Reindeer.
Do you know that one by
I
the
grabbed
knife?
one of your horns. And even if it rains here, it's much worse in the north. It's the Knife song. They're like this Swedish like pop duo.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's a good song.
It looks like they'll have this one available. This is one I already decided I'm buying. Is Santa's Workshop.
I've heard amazing things.
What is it? What is it all about?
It's a worker placement game about making toys as an elf in the North Pole.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yep.
How do you really feel?
Do any of them end up becoming dentists?
It depends
Do they
how
get
much
breaks?
candy you eat while you play. They arrive to that conclusion as a need. So if you rot your teeth out, one of them will become a dentist.
Okay.
Yeah. Too many candy canes, man.
Do they get paid breaks? What's the PTO like? I want to see the package.
Hopefully.
This is so good.
Well, they're workers because they're Santa's little workers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks fun.
That's a cute thing, though. I'll give them that.
Our buddy Matthew Ryan, who was on the show last week, he'll have a booth. Envyborn Games.
We have him right here.
Yes. Sirens, Defrag, and 16 Candies, and Confusing Lands.
We have played Sirens. I do not have Confusing Lands yet. But Sirens is a really great 2-player only drafting game with musical sheet music and multi-use cards. These are all 18-card games. So I think Envyborn is kind of trying to take a page out of Button Shy's book. So this is like their kind of micro game series that they're doing. Sirens, super great. I love Greek historical themes. I am a classically trained musician and composer. So Sirens is amazing. They also have an app for Sirens where you can play back siren songs.
That's what sold me on that.
It's so cool. And it actually has a really good solo mode where you play against Orpheus. So if you're a solo gamer, I think this one could also be one to check out. We haven't played the other two yet. Defrag, I think, is kind of it's kind of Grove Orchard-esque. If you played that game Orchards, which is like Mark Tuck's card overlaying game, has a similar vibe to that of like old school like Microsoft era.
Yes.
It's very nostalgic and cute. And I don't know for the copies they're selling there, but for the Kickstarter copy, we did get 2 decks. So you can play this at 2 with the Kickstarter edition. But then I know 16 Candies, I think you're trying to steal candy from each other or something. I can't remember if there's a bidding element in this game or bluffing or something like that.
I don't remember. To Blave.
Sam.
I don't think we got to play this one.
Yeah. It's 2 to 4. I remember that.
I've got 16 Candies. I just haven't. I've got a prototype version.
Yeah. I think it's one of those one last man standing kind of things because I read through the rule book a while ago. So it's about basically whoever is left standing with the candy gets all the candy kind of thing. So I know there's some simultaneous action selection or card revealing, I think. Something like that. But Sirens, we played a couple of times and really enjoyed. So.
Confusing Lands was good. It's basically like you're building a little town out of double-sided cards.
Right. That one's card overlaying, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, some of the cards have scoring goals on it, but you automatically, if you have more than one scoring card in your little town, it starts at negative 10 points. So you have to be able to score more than 10 points to even justify putting that card out. Otherwise, you want to cover it up. So it kind of has a sort of risk reward to adding more point modifiers to your town.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, looks interesting.
Kalahari, I'm probably going to demo while I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same designer as Sirens, the Kalahari one, with the meerkats, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
the meerkats.
Mm-hmm. So this one's wild. This one won't come out until later, but this is Mistwind, which has flying whales.
Flying whales. I was looking into this one,
whales.
and the flying whales are not as a huge a part of the gameplay as I would have liked them to be.
Looks
but they're
like it's,
basically like mail carriers.
Yeah, pick up and deliver.
Pick up and deliver, right?
It's a pick up and deliver game,
which is not one of my favorite mechanics, to be honest.
I like pick up and deliver. With a cover like this, I was expecting something a little more whimsical.
Sure.
I guess. But.
Let's see. We can kind of.
Did you pass drafted right records yet?
No, that is Inside Up, I believe.
Okay.
Let's see. So we're on the G's. Gigamic makes Galapagos, which was a lot of fun. I don't know a whole lot about the stuff they have coming out at Origins, though. Task Team. I heard this one's interesting. This is like you're given a timer, and you have to complete tasks, but they're kind of random and wild, and the other team gets to determine how much time you actually have to complete them. Sounds like a fun party game. It might be something I check out. Gold Seal, I am not familiar with them. Looks like they'll be in 25th Century's booth. Mondo Davis, that was a designer you mentioned for coming out with all play games.
Yeah, which one?
By the Seashore.
Oh, he's coming up with a bunch. Good for him. He's been hustling. By the Seashore. I know Big Sur looks really good. I think that's the one of his games.
Yep.
It's likely to back.
Grand Gamers Guild, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We might actually be playing the Fog this coming weekend.
We definitely are playing it this weekend. Hell or High Water. I've been trying to get that game played for like 2 weeks. We're also going to play that La Familia Morta this weekend as well. So,
yeah. So we'll have some opinions on that soon.
La Familia Morta?
Isn't that what it's called?
It sounds
La
like
Familia Hort.
La Familia Hort.
Hort. Oh, my bad.
Okay.
Tim was the one that made it about death.
I did make it about death. It's always about death.
But look at that.
This Tir na Nog is a game I think would be really
Yes.
Dude, I want to play that Tir na Nog as well with my Irish heritage.
Earn
sounds
your place
amazing.
in the Celtic.
I just got
what's it called?
sucked in by this.
Tir na Nog.
Yeah, this one here, this one is going to probably sell out at Origins.
I think so. It looks really cool.
Hold on, let me find the table presence on this beast. No, it's like a. Can I find it?
There's like the different creatures. It's very like.
Oh, I'm getting this confused with a different game. Holy crap. Yeah, not what I was thinking, but I'm still interested in it.
Now, yeah, I just like that's just a weird title. They just decided to stick with the Celtic.
Hand management and worker placement.
Thank you, Bob.
This is the Seikatsu guys.
Oh,
okay. So there you go. I like them. This is a heavier game than Seikatsu for sure, but I like what they did with that one.
Gray Fox coming out with some new versions of Midgard, some new games in the Midgard universe, I should say.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are these offshoots of what is that game called? Of Midgard?
Yeah, so we've got Champions of Midgard, and this is Clans of Midgard, which is a card game. And then they are coming out with Reavers of Midgard, the card game.
Yeah, it's like a Viking themed worker placement game, and these are like
yeah. Ooh, this one has negotiation in it. Hold on a minute.
Oh my god! But
negotiation and secret unit deployment with bluffing and exploration.
So 3 players or more, right?
It says 2 to 6.
Allegedly. Well, Moonraker technically says 2 to 6 too, doesn't it? So
yeah. That'd be terrible at 2.
I love Moonraker so much. That was my favorite experience at RageCon last year, but I'm like, I can't justify buying that freaking game because there is a 2-player mode, but like it's like you can't play Catan with like less than 3 or 4. Like,
right.
No. There's a
Moonrakers and anything with negotiation,
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I'll have to check that out. That one sounds interesting.
Right. More power to you. We love negotiation though.
Yeah.
I do too.
I'm trying to negotiate in games that don't even have negotiation.
It's true. He's always trying to
I try to
let him
try to get it in there.
Then he wins. Sore winner.
Well,
Terra sounds or looks interesting.
Now, so this looks like the same art and like a slight retheming of After Us. Did you guys play that game?
After Us? I love After Us.
My complaint with this is I love Planet of the Apes. I'm a big Planet of the Apes fan. I watched all the original movies as a kid, and I felt like After Us was a good example of a game that's super abstract, has beautiful art, and there was a big disconnect for me between the theme and the gameplay, which I like the gameplay, actually. I thought After Us was a really good, solid game. So I'm sure this will be a good, solid game, but will it actually immerse me in the theme,
That's a good point. It's not thematic really at all. After Us isn't.
It's still a great game. Like if you like resource management and hand management, like the sort of the way that the tableau building works in that game.
I mean, the Vincent Dutrait art I'm in. Yeah, the theme is what it is, but I do absolutely love that game.
No, but were the monkeys the ones that repopulated the world, or was it the other animals? Can we just keep our story straight? Like,
I don't know. That depends. Who has the most batteries?
Mm-hmm.
Who has the most batteries?
Oh, that's a resource in the game.
Is that a resource in the game?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the fish or the octopus.
Oh, there you go.
Because there's probably more like, deposits of mercury down there or, iron or whatever.
I don't.
Here we go. Here's Inside Up Games. And yeah, I'm very interested in Draft and Write.
So I have played Draft and Write Records with Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Needle.
Nice.
They are very much similar to me in the sense that when we play games on BGA, it's click around and find out. I do not recommend that style of play for this particular game because there are negatives you can get in the game. It's very, it's Three Sisters. It's reminiscent to me of Three Sisters, but not the combos aren't as intense. I love the theme because I love music. Obviously, trained musician. I still don't totally understand this game. There's a lot of comboing. It's a combo-tastic kind of roll, right?
Ooh, good.
So
those are the best kind.
Yeah, and it seems less convoluted in the combos than something like Three Sisters, So I think this will be more on the level for people that are looking for a medium level roll and write that's not like super crazy levels of heavy.
I really like this theme.
I do too. It was fun.
I like roll and writes.
There's a lot of mini kind of puzzles in it. So if you're into that.
Okay. Nice. I am. Little mini games. Kids Table Board Games. Again, part of Burnt Island. This one, Layers, I know, will actually be hitting Kickstarter later this year. This is their next Kickstarter. I don't know much about the game yet, though. It's got deduction in it.
Yeah, I know they're featuring Maple Valley, which is kind of technically a this year release / last year release that we still need to get. Cafe Barras is the new Roberta Taylor.
Cafe Bar.
I think that one looks so cute. It's more of
It
a
really is. I mean,
you
look
have
at
a
this.
cafe and it's run by capybaras. Need I say more? And she is I really like her as a designer. I think she has a lot of versatility. And this seems on the lighter side, even lighter than the Valley was. So this one, I believe, is a much more card driven than the others were. Which we have another game by her called Octopus's Garden, which is more of a tile-based one. Yeah, that one's fun.
I already love the cards because they're using puns. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I think this is in the vibe of they have this other game that came out this year called Dice Veggies. So I think this is
Dice Veggies.
And so Maple Valley is the one we really need to get on. But I think we'll end up getting this one just because it's so cute. But I was looking at layers too. And I really like KTBG. They do like the perfect weight of game, I think, for us, because they do kind of family weight to light to medium. Like they actually have like a wide range. Like it's not, I mean, this is my hot take. Creature Comforts is not a family weight game.
Ooh.
That's a medium. That's like a lot on the lighter side of medium weight Euro game, but that is not a game that you can play with 8-year-olds. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't try.
I think with Maple Valley, they try to take that critique and make it a little lighter. And I think now with Capybaras, they've gotten now down more to the real family weight level. I'm curious with this Layers one because that's a different designer. What's going on there?
I don't know much about this one yet. Deduction and dice rolling, but no photos yet. So
they're
not
doing
much
a
known
lot
about
of stuff
this
with dice. I've noticed.
Yeah,
which is fun.
I really like their graphic design. All of their games just pop out of the box. Because they literally
use the same artist for all of it, which is the thing I'm saying for all play too. Most of your budget, a good amount of your budget, needs to be for the art. Because that's how you create your brand, that signifying brand. So when people are going for lists like this, like, oh, that's a KTPG game for sure. That's an all-play game for sure. It really does a lot for you. Even if you're not with the same designer, using the same artist really helps you be able to stand out of the crowd, I think.
They one of the co-owners is their main graphic designer. So they have that consistency through every single game and they always look great.
Yeah, and I love their style. I love their art style for sure.
I've heard great things about this Maki Master and I really want to try this one
really
too. Yeah. It used to be Wasabi, and I heard this Wasabi game was pretty good.
Oh, this is a reskinning of Wasabi. Okay,
yes.
That makes more sense.
I guess they could not keep that Wasabi name. It originally had that name, and they had to change it.
Well, there's a couple other games that have that name now, and I think because there's a lot of other Japanese games getting reskinned and reprinted, they just wanted to kind of revamp it.
Yeah, so I really want to check that one out. That one says Q4, but they're demoing it, so I'd take them up on that.
Yeah, because they're definitely.
And are you a fan of Wasabi in general?
You know what's funny? I'm a fan of hot and spicy things in general. I just don't really enjoy the taste of wasabi that much.
Well, there's a big difference between pepper, capsaicin spicy, and horseradish / mustard spicy, right? Because one really just clears your nostrils, but doesn't sit on the tongue, which is what capsaicin does. So it activates in a different
way. I love wasabi. You know, we love eating sushi here. And when I first tried wasabi the first time, it was like a religious experience.
I thought it was guacamole the first time I had wasabi. And I took a whole chip full of wasabi.
Oh, God.
I was 10. I don't know. Even the Red Lobster somehow. Why did they have wasabi? The Red Lobster.
I don't know.
Well, that makes sense why they're out of business.
Here she comes. Since you said it, I'm going to quickly introduce you to my dog.
Oh.
This is her. Her name is Sushi.
Oh,
So
she heard her name.
I couldn't miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
We're Californians. We don't. It's required.
I'm all about sushi. I've got to have
Same.
it.
So I gotta.
Let's see.
Now he's finally
has
a bathroom break.
I'm gonna have.
I'm getting to that point myself.
I've already taken 2.
You gotta clear.
I do want to talk about this one. So this is.
Okay, go.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like hot things, but yeah, wasabi just doesn't have a flavor that I like. Okay, so this one here, this might be one of the best polyomino games I've ever played.
Okay.
And I love polyomino games, though. I used to play a ton of Tetris when I was a kid. And so just twisting shapes is just like infinite replayability for me. This one does a couple things that's pretty unique, though. So I like that this is based on a real thing. It's based off of basically food vendors in India that actually, carry around food like this stacked up on the back of their bikes like that.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And so in this game, you're going around, moving your character around to grab these different cards that allow you to take polyominoes and put them on your player board. Except what's unique about this one is that you can stack the tiles on your board, just like that Dabawala I just showed you. So you're actually building up and not just filling one layer. And you can go all the way up to 10 levels of this thing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then there's like this whole section of the game where you play the bottom of this card to affect the value of the tiles on your board. So if this green tile is on the second level of my board, the points are doubled, but I can play this to manipulate the multiplier even more. It just combined a lot of things I really like in gaming, and they're selling this at Origins. It'll be available.
So it's just coming out.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually currently on Kickstarter, so if you back it, you won't have it till like next month. But you could go buy it from their booth directly next week. And I thought it was fantastic. So if you like polyominoes, definitely go check out.
I do like polyomino games. We have a bunch of them.
Yeah, I really like Planet Unknown, for example. I'm a big fan of that one.
I don't know that one. But
I don't know Randolph. This is another subsidiary.
We like Miyabi, and that one also involves different layers. Have you ever played that one?
Mm-mm.
It sounds similar because it's polyominoes, and they get multiplied by which layer they're on. Oh, okay. There you go.
Miyabi's great.
So
similar.
One of the co-designers of Azul.
In my opinion, the last 2 years, I don't know if anybody sold more games at Gen Con and Origins than Scorpion Mask / Hachette. Sky Team was one of the big reasons for that. I still think that should be a Spiel des Jahres. But looking at what they have coming out at Origins this year, I can't figure out what the hit is. I'm not sure what it is. They're only showing these 2 releases. And they both are like cooperative narrative games, which are not really my bag.
Who?
Hachette. Scorpion Mask.
Scorpion Masque.
Yeah, they've really been doing a great job at what they've been releasing at cons the last couple years.
He loves Zombie Teens, which was a legacy game.
No, I didn't love it. It just was okay. So
yeah, it was just okay. They have some other.
But I didn't mind it as much as you did. I didn't think it was horrible. I kind of liked
really
it.
Game.
Yeah,
they might be saving their releases for Gen Con also, because that's where their big ones have been coming out at.
I think so because like they always like to coordinate their international releases with things like that. So, did you guys get to Middle Ages yet?
No.
Okay.
Ooh, Space Line.
Yeah, we've gotten a chance to play this one. This is a really fun card-based lane battler.
Yeah, I like Space Lion a lot.
I can't even read that. So what is it? What's
kind of like you're picking these lanes and going, all right, I'm battling Tim on this lane, Andy on this lane, and Rich on this lane, and then you apply your cards to those lanes, and then your cards are going to battle head to head against each other.
And you can play some cards face up, and you can play some cards face down. And so some of them have like a reveal ability, some of them have a when you play it ability. And then all the decks are completely asymmetrical, so you're using different factions that play in different ways. It's really cool. It's really fun at like high player counts. Does a lot of really interesting things. And then the I will also say, if you guys just want like a very fast dueling kind of style game where you each have your own little deck of cards, like 8 cards, 10 cards, look into Pocket Paragons. This is also from the same company, Solis Games, SOLIS, Solis. They've got some really cool, like lots of options, lots of, it's just their style of games are really fun. I like them a lot. They're fast, they're quick, they're pretty easy. Pocket Paragons plays a lot faster than Space Lion, but Space Lion's still pretty quick, and the rules overhead isn't too crazy. You can play, you figure out how your faction plays, and then you just re-rack and play again. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can do better now. I understand how this should work.
Yeah, this almost sounds like almost Battle Line adjacent to me.
Yeah. Kind of like you're playing 3 different games of Battle Line at the same time.
Cool. Yeah, that's not bad.
Good comparison. I love this other subsidiary of Hachette called Sorry We Are French.
Oh, yeah.
I just like the name.
Publishers. We like them a lot.
I just like that name.
I think they have another name. I can't remember what it was. But, yeah. The only game we have from them is Iki, which we covered in our recent series. So.
Oh, one of our friends, Jason Smith, he's from the Board Game Mechanics. He loves Iki. He really talks that one up. So yes, he does.
If you like, it's basically worker placement games, but your workers are upgradable. And it's a Rondell.
Right.
Rondell. Love a Rondell.
Nice. Here you go.
Just make sure to get lots of fire insurance, okay?
That's right, because your buildings, your market stalls can burn down. It's a really great historic game. It's one of the few games about historical Japan that's about ordinary day working people and not fucking samurai and shit. So that's why I love Iki.
Andy, you need to tell me about Middle Ages because I don't know anything about it, but I saw that it had the Splendor designer on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm curious. Instantly.
That's why that name's familiar. He's the Splendor designer. I don't know. Yeah. I love middle-aged historical anything, and this seems like a mostly tile-driven game from the images I was looking at. I don't know much about it, but like a lot of people don't like Euro beige because they're like, oh, it's the Middle Ages. Who cares? I'm like, well, I care. And this one actually seems like it has pretty good art. And it looks like mostly tile-based. I don't even know anything about the mechanics.
Yeah.
But I know you're developing your fiefdom.
He was just tile. They sucked him in just with the title Middle Ages.
Middle Ages, straight up. What do we do? I am a big Middle Ages history nerd. So any game that even purports to be about that is going to get my attention.
Look at how these tiles connect to each other. It's
interesting,
really
right?
Unique.
Like this sort of tableau building seems it's probably a huge engine building thing.
Yeah.
So I just can smell engine building games from a mile away, apparently. Doesn't the art look cool? It's very colorful.
I like it.
Colorful.
Yeah, I like this style and the way these different tiles have their own unique notches to them, saying you can only play this tile in this column because it fits into. Yeah, that's kind of unique.
Yeah, so I'm just it's one of those. I'm gonna be interested to hear more about it. It's not like auto buy, but you have my attention.
Right. Yeah.
let's see what it's all about. And if it's any kind of engine building, okay, I'm sold.
Open drafting set collection. Yeah, sounds about right. Is this going to be available? It says July 24th of this year, but demo only. So they're probably again pushing for a Gen Con release, it looks like.
Yeah, how many of these games at Origins do you think are like, well, how much do you think they're holding out for Gen Con, a lot of these publishers?
I mean, it depends. It depends on the it's a lot easier to get a booth at Origins than it is at Gen Con.
Sure. Because isn't it a smaller convention?
Yeah, it's smaller, it's a little more accessible, or it's a lot more accessible, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm noticing is a lot of like more like, no, I don't know how many of these I would say are big publishers, but it seems like a lot of like safe suspects.
Well, you know, like I mean, honestly, though, I don't think people are necessarily holding back for Gen Con because, I mean, just to put it very frankly, you know, you got to make your nut. You know, when you're at a con, you've got to sell. You've got to be able to justify the costs. So really, if it's a Gen Con release, it's because they couldn't get the product in before August. You know what I mean? Like if they could get the product in, they're going to have it. They're going to sell it. I could just tell you, I've talked to enough publishers. They're going to sell the stuff. Nobody's sitting on everything going, oh, well, we'll wait till Gen Con. Not if it's out for sale. Now, if it's like, we're going to wait to demo this, that's another thing. You're going to build the hype. You're going to build the buzz. But I mean, Queen Games, for example, right? Dabawala. If they really wanted to make a splash, they would just, you know, like, oh, we want that Gen Con hype. Trust me, that game's going to be hyped at Gen Con just as much as it is at Origins. And Gen Con's going to have 4 times as many people there. So I guess I don't buy into the I'm saving it for Gen Con stuff.
I'm just curious in the sense of which conventions are really like the one that draws the indie publishers more. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. I mean, Essen is probably the biggest one. Gen Con is not necessarily indie publisher friendly as much because, you know, to get a booth there, you need to almost be grandfathered in. You know what I mean? You get on a waiting list, blah, blah, blah.
And I'm wondering if Origins is a little more indie friendly.
Origins is 1,000,000% indie friendly because they want you to join the Gamma, you know, Federation or whatever. So then once you join Gamma, and then you can get a booth, and there's almost always room at Origins. It's like anybody can get a booth at Origins. Hardly anybody can get a booth at Gen Con that doesn't already
have. And my thoughts
on
Dallawalla, we backed a game that is a very similar theme that is also by a German designer that's called Jakarta Traffic, which is about like, you know, motorcycle taxi drivers delivering things. It's interesting that Queen is releasing a game with a similar theme, but it's India instead of Indonesia. Interesting with Jakarta Traffic, one of the developers on that game is actually Indonesian, and the designer actually lives in Indonesia. I don't know if that's the case necessarily of Queen's game, but they sure seem to. It's always interesting to me when publishers release games with a very similar theme.
I mean, like movie studios do the same thing, right? Like you get disaster movies come out.
Or theater companies. God, the amount of times when I was in Into the Woods and a rival theater company was coming out of it incidentally around the same time, which it takes more than months, it takes up to a year to get those kinds of rights. So like there's a lot of planning that goes into those things. So it's just interesting to me and about this whole debate of, okay, should German designers be releasing games themed around Asian communities when no one from those Asian communities are actually involved in the development process?
Sure. I mean, I think that's a valid point, but at the same time, I think if you just like something culturally and you're passionate about it, even if you're an outsider, I don't think you should not be able to make a game about it. That's my opinion.
Sure, and I haven't looked into how much they've actually engaged cultural consultants or something like that, but I know Queen Games being one of the older, more established publishers, I'm just interested if some of the drama that, say, people like Stonemaier Games went through with their viticulture
Oh, sure.
Expansion, whether that is translating over to whether the German publishers are rethinking that at all. Yeah, just my
and it also might, I don't know, I can't speak to the vibe in Europe, but Europeans might have a totally different approach to it, you know, than Americans. You know, but I think like anything, I think if you're respectful of the property, make your game, you know. I mean, do your research, make your game, be respectful, and be candid. Now, I say that as somebody that's not a game designer, so it's really easy for me to say, but I mean, I'm a fan of all kinds of different cultures, right? And all kinds of different stuff that I have no particular heritage or relationship to. So, I mean, I think if you're a fan and you do your research and you want to create something to kind of honor that or showcase that, I mean, go for it.
Yeah, I've looked into it a little bit. It seems like one of the less problematic ones in the sense, like it doesn't seem like overtly colonialist in any way to me, but again, we just did our whole series on Japanese designers, and like we have conversations about this constantly about, okay, what is the degree, you know, to which, okay, yes, we are enjoy the culture and stuff, but you know, how much are we honoring that? And just there's just a big track record, I think, too much, especially if the European publishers and designers of being very insensitive in that regard.
Oh,
so
sure.
Anytime I see a German publisher releasing a game with a theme like this, and you know, I'm curious to see if they've engaged. It doesn't have to. The designer themselves doesn't have to be Indian for them to do a game with Indian theme. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just curious whether they're even not necessarily engaging cultural consultants. But I always look on games for that. Did they have any Indian playtesters?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think that's fair.
That, you know?
I think that's fair.
I'm not getting rid of my tiki torches. That's all I'm saying. And you know, I love those tikis in the backyard. It's like,
I don't want to cancel anyone, but also I'm just kind of like, you know, there's so many colonialist games people still play, like freaking Puerto Rico, and, you know, Tammany Hall and stuff like that.
Oh, I love Listen, I love Tammany Hall, but again, you're pointing at a spotlight on a very uncomfortable part of American history, right? A lot of people don't necessarily understand, and it's like, look, like you can play this game about corrupt politics without being a corrupt politician, you know what I mean? And it might, hopefully it will spurn some interest, and you might actually want to learn a little bit about, you know, 1860s, 1870s New York City. And you're like, geez, that was really fucked up, you know, like, you know, and you can appreciate that.
Boss trade. But, you know, it also, to me, it really stood out to me because Queen Games generally is a more conservative publisher. So them to like really try to grab onto this more very exotic theme, it feels a little bit attention, not necessarily cash grabby, but like, oh, you're doing something really different than what you normally do. So that's kind of why the kind of
and maybe who knows, maybe they maybe that's a designer that is native, you know what I mean, and that's, you know, and they found a game they liked and they bought it. It does seem sort of outside of their normal catalog,
right?
But I mean, sometimes if it's a really good game, it might be just too hard to pass up. I don't know. I can't speak for Queen. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't know anybody involved in Queen.
Yeah. I hope that it's done in a respectful way. So that's my only concern.
I have no issue with, I have no argument with that point. I think that, if you are going to, I mean, hell, even the Stonewall Uprising game, right? Like you've got, somebody's got to play the bad guy, but you want to do that game in a way that represents like what is actually happening.
Yeah, and I think that designer in particular struggled a lot with how to do it. Even him being a gay person, like, he's like already in position of, well, you know, nobody's going to challenge me or whatever, but he still wanted to do it in a tasteful way that even in the way that he did the man, it's like, okay, this isn't about if you're a Republican, you're dead to me kind of thing.
No.
This is a game. I want to do it sensitively.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, things like that, like people literally have lost their lives, you know what I mean? And like, you know, and not even just to the man, but, you know, I mean, all sorts of the mental health repercussions, right, that come along with the pressures that are put on, you know, people by society, especially when culture is very restrictive, of lifestyles and everything. And so yeah, I mean, you have to be aware, you have to be cognizant of all of that. I agree with you.
Yeah, and you'd like something as light as like delivering freaking Indian food to be like beyond that, but then
I love Indian food.
I cook it.
But
I just love anything with
when
curry.
You had as many refugee immigrant friends as I have had, like you become aware of like these things that are like, oh yeah, I'm just profiting off your culture without actually like even asking anybody of that culture whether what I'm doing is okay. So I feel like, like publishers, even established publishers, I see not always doing their due diligence is my own concern.
Well, and I think that that's the difference now, though, is I think now there is much more awareness of that, right? And so people are more aware, and then when they're not, they're kind of forced to be a little more aware, And again, I think that if you are doing your homework, make the game you want to make, theme it the way you want to theme it, but do your homework. I would not make a game about the gay rights struggle without talking to, everybody that I know that might have, brushed up against that. I mean, me personally, but at the same time, if you've got a really great idea for a game, make your game, but just be aware of what you're doing.
Nothing should be shut off because, I mean, we can be admirers of many different cultures.
Oh yeah. And again, though, right? You do it the right way. There's a right way. There's a right way to do that. There's a right way to, and so Andy, you make a great point, right? You just want to make sure people are doing due diligence, and you're holding people accountable, right? So
right, because especially when it comes to like food and cuisine, so many like Vietnamese, Indian, Asian people that I know say like, I'm so excited that people are trying our recipes and spreading our culture throughout the world. Like, people from those cultures like want, people in the West to be able to spread those ideas, but yeah, like you said, I think it's just doing it the right way. And I haven't looked into all of what's going on with their development, but just raise my eyebrow a bit.
Hey, totally fair. Totally fair. Hi, Mike.
Hey.
I can't be on too much later. Mike, I'm going to hit a few things really quick that I think I want.
Yeah, I only have one more game.
That I would say everybody needs to go and check out if it sounds interesting, or definitely what I would be doing if I was at Origins.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Seppi Yoon. Seppi?
Oh yeah, we're covering one of his games this month.
Wonderful. Are you the Conquest Princess? Or are you doing End of the Line? Or what are you doing?
We're not doing Conquest Princess, unfortunately. We're doing the mouse.
Oh yeah. Mouse cat.
Cucumber.
Cheese
cucumber.
Yes,
We had to do the light line. Conquest Princess isn't fulfilling for a while.
I'm so jealous. I want to play mouse cat cheese cucumber. Seppi, I love Seppi so much. He is amazing. He is going to be demoing End of the Line. He will be there. Not only is he just an amazing teacher of games, but like, I love that man. Yeah, he's super fun to be around. He is just a beacon of light. So seek out
his design knowledge very freely.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Also lived through the AIDS crisis.
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a really great podcast called Hatch This Way. If any reviewers are interested in like the whole gay side of board gaming, Hatch This Way is a great podcast. Seppi Yoon was on one of his episodes where he talks about, sort of his history at the AIDS epidemic. Also talks about, his path, his journey as a board game designer. So.
Yeah. I'll need to listen to that. I had the awesome opportunity. The first time I actually met Seppi, I asked him to come on so I could interview him at Origins last year, and he was I was pleasantly surprised and almost shocked at how open he was with just with all of his stories and everything, and he had my favorite thing. I asked him if he had come out before he was a board game designer, or if that was like part of his process, with design. And his response to me was, "I've been out longer than Magic the Gathering." And I laughed so hard.
He's like, you got to listen to that episode he did on Hatch This Way. It's hilarious.
He's so good. He's so good. Anyways, I love him. He's an amazing ambassador. But yes, I won't see him at Origins, unfortunately, but I know Mike will. But I will definitely be seeing him at Gen Con. He's going to be on the show again soon. But I will be finding Seppi to learn everything I can about end of the line.
He has a really great YouTube short series of designer tip of the day.
Yes,
he does. That's really amazing.
So I love Seppi. Blah blah blah. I won't stop talking about him. So I'm going to make myself. Anyways, and then the other thing that I'm definitely really sad I'm not going to be able to do at Origins, but I will 1,000,000% be doing at Gen Con. You guys talked about campaign style games. I got to know a guy named Jeff Fisher, or not Jeff Fisher. That's the coach of the Titans. Anyways, who used to be 100 years ago. Jeff Irving. Jeff Irving is from Weathervane Games. He's got a game coming out called Vrahode that will be hitting crowdfunding this fall, right, Mike?
Yeah.
But this is sort of like an open world campaign style game that's all it's going to be, I can't wait to play it. I haven't played it yet, but it's going to be like more accessible than a Gloomhaven. But it's got like amazing art. It's this totally unique world. And just like all kinds of really interesting characters and stuff you can play. And as a I say former, but I would do it if I had more time. But as a role-playing, RPG gamer, right? I'm always drawn to these, immersive campaign-style games. So Vrahode will definitely be something that I will be checking out.
What does that mean? Do you know?
I think he made it up.
Oh, okay. It sounds like it would be a thing.
It sounds like a thing. And if you talk to Jeff, he like the way he talks about it, like this world has been in his head for so long. Like the way he talks about it, you also just assume that it must be a thing. Like, oh well, what's Vrahode? Like you know about Vrahode, right? Oh yeah, I know about Vrahode. What's that again? Can you tell me? But no, it's a really cool looking campaign style, I don't want to say legacy game because it's not, like, because you can pick it up, you know what I mean? And you can bring people in and you can there's just lots of different things you can do with it. Yeah. So I'm really excited to finally get to play this. But he's been demoing his butt off, all over the world at all kinds of different cons and stuff, and I got to interview him, got to know him a little bit, and I really like the guy, and I'm excited about the game. I can't wait to actually get to play it. He actually just sent me sort of like a rough copy of the rules, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Not tonight, but probably tomorrow.
I would like to do more of that TTRPG / RPG action. There's a lot of gay creators in that space.
There's a lot of
Yeah, it's not something we've gotten as much into because Rich doesn't really like the role play.
Sure. Elements. It's not for everybody.
I don't know. Maybe
some are more guided than others. I think the campaign style games he would be more.
I do like campaign
story based.
Yeah.
I think giving you that story, you're not necessarily like tied to the rails, but just having some guideposts, like to really get you through can be very beneficial. And then I guess I lied. There's one last thing I'll talk about. There's some friends of ours that have made I say friends of ours, we learned about their game first and then became friends with them because we stalked them. But the people from Parakeet Griffin Games, I would call them kids because I'm old and they're young, but they made a game that we have really enjoyed playing called Fairy Tale Campaign Trail. Now, sorry guys, this won't be good at 2 players, but this is sort of like a debate style game. You're running for mayor of a fictional, fairy tale village. You're going to get a card that is a problem, like what's one of the problems, Mike? Do you remember? I guess I could just.
There's a weird shed up on the hill that we need to take care of.
Oh yeah, that nobody's supposed to talk about, but everybody keeps going. And so now what you need to do is you've got a hand of cards and they're basically suggestions, and you're gonna have to pitch. You're gonna choose one of those cards, and you're gonna pitch your. You're gonna basically give your stump speech on why you should be elected because of how you're gonna fix this problem. But to make things worse, there's a modifier. So like maybe you have to like talk in an accent, or maybe you have to. Maybe you have to. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get out some of the cards because I'm doing it. Oh, sing your argument. Maybe explain how the town will profit for it.
The part that Rich doesn't like. He says he doesn't like Euro games, but he likes Euro games because it's very on the rails and he can just do his thing and he doesn't have to perform. I, as a trained opera singer and actor, clearly have no problem like just making shit up, like and doing that kind of extroverted shit.
Yeah. So this game is like totally about just doing all that extroverted shit, and I love it and have a great time with it. There's like a little prototype they sent us. Anyways, really awesome people involved in this game, and we have played it a ton, and I personally love it. So I met them at Origins last year, and yeah, love them. Super fun people.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I got all mine done.
Ooh, did you want to do that one?
Oh, I was only going to mention chicken fried dice.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about chicken fried dice real quick.
I mean, I don't know much about it beyond this was a designer I had thought about. Ashwin Kamath, who I think is he's the same designer that helped design the viticulture expansion.
Okay.
And he has another game coming. Oh no, he's someone that designs a lot with Clarence Simpson because he co-designed The Wolves, which is a Pandasaurus game with him. Yeah. So this is like kind of a Yahtzee style game, is my understanding. You're basically running different food trucks. They're making fried chicken, and you have to pluck the chicken before you fry them. What does it say? Players operate their own chicken for food trucks in this dice chucking and plucking roll and write. Feed customers by matching ingredient dice to the dishes they want before they are too hungry. So I thought it was KTVG, but I guess it's not. It's some other publisher. But it's a roll and write that's kind of Yahtzee style of like a cute little theme. So just thought giving him a shout out because I know he's like him and Clarence, I think, are two like up and coming designers that have done a couple of things, but I think they're definitely names to watch out for. So
nice.
Ashwin Kamath.
Yep. Looks like he designed the Wolves and even did some stuff with Funko games.
Yeah, so I know him and Clarence teamed up on the Wolves. Clarence is off doing his own projects, and I think Ashwin's doing some of his own projects too. So.
Nice.
So good for them.
I like it.
Yay! Like we're basically half of our channel is just like trying to rep like the up and coming designers because like those are our friends or like whatever. But like we do try to be like the channel that is like, okay, we're not just going to cover the hotness. We'd like to kind of cover like some, stuff that's not getting as much of a light, especially if it's like up and coming designers.
As an old Gen Xer hipster, I totally appreciate that. Like find the deep cuts, right?
Right, because we're off carving our own little niche over here. We can kind of do whatever we want, basically.
Absolutely.
And we are totally unashamed designer fangirls.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, like I'm like, okay, like I'm not here making a lot of money with this channel right now, but I'd rather have the channel be something where we can at least highlight what we think are underrated games and designers who we think need a little bit more light as well. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, anything you wanted to hit? I know we should talk about Jim Cole and zombie survival infection.
Well, he's going to be demoing it, but he's going to be at his company's booth, which is Arc Night. But that's all like RPG, dice, standees, miniatures, and that sort of accessories and whatnot. As far as like people that have a booth for their games, Addicts Games, who just raised $400,000 for Rove, which is another co-op kind of adventure campaign. We did have West on the show, and we shot a tabletop simulator for that one. The interesting thing about them is you can demo the game and then late pledge, so there's still opportunities to get the game. But also the artist for the game who hand drew every single character and terrain in that game, his name is Alexander Elichev. He'll be signing and selling prints. All of the money goes to him, and Addicts Games will not be taking any cut of those art prints. He is actually in the process of immigrating from the Ukraine. So if you would like to support an indie artist coming to the US, that is a great opportunity to do so.
Give him money.
Yes, can confirm. Can confirm he's not AI.
That we're aware of.
Yeah, that's
no,
true.
I'm kidding. That was a bad joke. He really is not. Also, another series of games that we've covered, Terrible Games, will be at Origins for the first time. We've had John DeCampos on the show. He is the Black Mold designer. Maybe one of the most unique games I've ever played, in that a turn lasts as long as you can hold your breath. And I mean that literally. You go,
Oh my God.
I understand.
and then you have to stop.
That sounds like an interesting mechanic, definitely.
It is. And you're trying to like traverse through this moldy cave, and you holding your breath kind of simulates that mold affecting your respiratory system as your brain loses oxygen and stuff. It's a semi-cooperative where you're kind of working together until you're not. And
I like those semi-cooperative ones.
Eventually, you're going to have to make some cutthroat decisions, and it's all for you at a certain point, because somebody's got to win. Not everybody's getting out of that moldy cave. So check out Terrible Games.
Subterra a little bit, but like better. I like that idea.
And his art style is freaking wicked.
It's very punk. It's very punk rock.
It's very metal.
It's a shout out to Miko, who's the artist for Endless Winter.
Oh, yeah.
Mike likes the Miko.
And Wayfarers of the South Tigers. He does all the art for Garfield games, which I have it right here.
Yep.
Speaking of rule books, I had to read very carefully. We still need to get this on the channel, but not Hadrian's Wall. But yeah, the Miko does art for this, and Coloma by Johnny Pack, which is coming very soon.
Is that somebody at the door? Do you hear something?
No, Robin's just pounding. She's probably kneeling stuff in.
Oh, it's his roommate. I thought there was somebody at the door. It sounded like knocking.
But yes, the Miko, who's a very talented Ukrainian artist, so we should get more talented Ukrainian artists in.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all I got.
Right on. Well, this list has been awesome. What is it, like 4 o'clock for you guys out there on the West Coast? I'm just teasing.
No, it's 8 p.m. 3-hour difference.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate.
We still haven't eaten yet. So.
Oh my gosh! I really appreciate y'all coming on and doing this with us.
Thank you for having us.
It's great. This has been so much fun.
We must do this again because I like having really fun people to hang out with. People that can laugh, but are also really obviously very smart and like lots of opinions.
Well, if you think this is fun, you should check out our live streams coming up. We're doing Rap Gods on Friday. So we live stream like multiple times a week. And we're also appearing on another person's channel.
Ooh, wait, can you tell me what you mean by Rap Gods? Like,
it's a game.
Here,
so
I'm gonna have to
computer is currently.
I've heard of that one.
Oh my God!
It's very fun.
Without Here, we need to
Grab it.
I've heard of this one.
I'll hold it up.
It's really
It's from a couple
cute.
years ago. This is a gay black designer from New Orleans, actually. Omari.
I did see
Omari
that
Field.
one.
This is it's like a hand management. You have a multi-track bumping thing. So in the center, you have like this big rondelle that's like a vinyl record. And you have 3 different tracks and concentric rings that you're trying to bump throughout the game. So it's like a track bumping game / hand management game. It's very funny. Like all
the cards are hilarious.
It's a very loving send up of hip hop culture, basically.
Very cool.
So we're going to be covering this one on Friday. Played this a couple times, and it's very fun. Among other gay designer games we're covering this month. So it's pretty light, actually. Very family weight kind of game, I would say. But like kind of 12 plus because there's some
you're doing time
somewhat
in prison.
risque humor. There might be talk of my favorite card in this game though is get involved in politics. Got the skills to pass bills.
Nice.
And there might be some child support cards and other things. Like it's very kind of runs the gamut of it's supposed to be a loving send up of hip hop culture for better or for worse.
Yeah, it's really fun to play.
Yeah, I think if you're a hip hop fan, I think you would get like.
There you go, Mike.
I want to check this out.
Mike is down.
I am.
Yeah, and it's pretty light. If you like hand management, it has a really interesting mechanic in this game of you have a hand limit. And at the beginning of every turn, you draw a card, you play a card. It's pretty basic. But you have the option of instead of drawing a card, you can discard 3 cards from your hand to take these juicier come-ups cards, which help you bump the tracks that you have. Like the main point of the game is to bump these tracks as far as possible on this sort of vinyl record in the middle of the board.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you spend those 3 cards, you only ever get to draw 1 card on your turn, unless you bump your cube far enough on a track to get these pickups tokens, which give you extra benefits. So it has an interesting kind of card economy, hand management economy in it that I think is very interesting. So we will be covering this one on Friday. That's us. So grab cards. He has another one that came out more recently that's basketball themed called Hoop Gods.
Okay.
So I think he's also a designer to watch out for.
There you go.
Well,
the more you know.
I also love hoops, so sign me up.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Yeah, then later this month we are covering Stonewall Uprising, Taylor Shuss, that designer. We have one of his new games. We'll be covering one of his in development games later.
Nice.
As well. So
awesome.
And then at the end of the month, we're going to do a live stream from RageCon. We're going to try to do a live stream from the convention. That's sort of our plan. So that will be fun too.
So everybody needs to like and subscribe and ring the bell for Get Gaymin so you get those notifications.
Yeah.
That way you get the notifications when they're going to go live and you don't miss any of that awesome content, right?
That's right.
Right, and we do live stream like two to 3 times a week.
Nice. Yeah, Mike, we only live stream once a week, so
I know we're slackers.
I keep him working.
That's true. Absolutely true.
That's awesome, though. That's awesome.
Trying to keep from the mold growing on me.
Yeah, that's right. You know what, that black mold.
Sharp.
You don't want him to have to hold his breath around you, so he could take his turns.
No, he beat me so bad at Rogers the other day. It was embarrassing.
Good. It keeps you in your place. Bring you down to earth.
That's right. I just teach the games. I never said I was a master.
Same. I teach and lose all the time. It's just, did you have fun playing?
Yeah, because you're too busy out helping other people too. Yeah, it was fun. So.
He wins plenty, believe me.
Here and there. Well, thanks for having us, guys.
Did not disappoint. I was very excited, and I'm really glad that we were able to make this work. And we will definitely have to do it again. And we'll do. We'll do a different
and I need to
topic.
hear from Mike the updates on. How many notes about this? Okay, I need updates on Nova Roma. Okay, I need updates on Brats of Wistar.
Mm-hmm.
SETI.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Nothing to make it out. Whatever.
Mutton busting.
Hey.
Well,
Mutton busting. That's the main one I want to know
busting.
about. Is it worth it? So I will trail a secondhand market, eBay, freaking like. I want to get a game. I will get it. Mutton busting. Okay, there you go.
If that game's any good, I'll be busting. Oh,
Oh, wait a minute.
Hot. Ooh,
Mine because I got it at Gen Con last year.
It sounds like that.
It looks
Like
so
where
cute.
men are men and the sheep are scared.
No. But you know what? One of our favorite games of all time is about pushing cattle. That is Longhorn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is a good game. So you never know, looking at sight unseen, if that game's going to be good or not until you play it.
You never know.
You never know.
All right.
Thank
Well.
you. We'll let you guys do your.
Look at him. He's wrestling all the cattle.
He is. He is. Look at that. I got the hearts going. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for coming on. We got Sushi making an appearance. You know what's funny, Mike, is when we were looking at dogs, we did walk a dog named Wasabi last weekend. And I thought of your dog, Sushi.
You do need wasabi with sushi. I mean,
Right?
Well, we have a pet mouse named Princess Caligula. She lives in a pink castle.
Nice.
that's our only pet.
I have two cats, D'Artagnan and Thor. One has one eye and one has no teeth. I don't know why we only have special needs cats, but whatever.
Tim's got to take better care of his animals.
No doubt.
Princess Caligula, she's living the good life. She was a rescue.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's like we caught her and we didn't want to,
She's not like a handleable pet because we're afraid that we might get one of those diseases, but that could kill us.
I don't think I would worry about it too much, but she's a little scared still.
She's a bit skittish. I got her the house, and she likes the house.
She does.
She likes the house.
Yeah, so
It's
like
in the Pink Palace.
Mike stole sushi from somebody, and he also says it's a rescue, so I get it.
Yeah, that's true. I actually found her
Well, the
in the
last
back.
one we took to freaking SPCA, and they just threw her in the trash, probably. So.
Oh,
But we didn't want to
Why
take.
even
We didn't want to
bother?
take another one. It's like, well, we'll just.
Well, she wasn't vomiting up blood, so she was already doing better than the last one.
Yeah, that's true.
oh,
So.
Bob's throwing fire at me. Kelly wanted cats to match her husband. I'm assuming, but by that you mean special needs.
Oh wow,
Kelly's
I
my
didn't
wife.
remember Tim having any hairless cats, but
Dang, that's me. I'm the hairless one. Yeah, it's funny. My wife was telling me, she's like, I didn't know I was into bald guys until you, I guess. So she's like, I guess now it's my thing.
You.
It's funny, I was into bald guys until I met this Scandinavian motherfucker. So.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of hair.
There you go.
So.
But anyways, you guys are wonderful. Looking forward to your live streams. I am already subbed, so if you're not subbed, what are you doing? Give them the Board Game Rundown bump. That means like 4 more subs at least.
There you go. At least.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm just trying to get to 100 to launch that Patreon.
There you go. There you go.
Guys, it's been swell.
No, I love it. I appreciate y'all. I said that 100 times. It's the Midwestern goodbye. So for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim. Mike.
that was Mike.
Andy and Rich from Get Gaymin.
Yes, we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
We'll see you guys.
Good
next
job,
time.
Stonemeyer.
A 7.3 repeating. Heating.